You're up and it's still dark. Kick back with a cup of joe. You know you've got friends waiting on 1620 The Zone. It's Happer and Schaefer. It's Connor and Mike. Listen on the radio stream or YouTube or podcasts. Anytime it feels right. It's Happer and Schaefer.
All right, good morning and welcome in. Happy Monday. It is Happer and Schaefer. You're on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, and Joey Colbert with you. But the day after the Super Bowl should be a national holiday. We shouldn't have to work today. Wrong! Get back to work, America. Even if it's bright and early, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. Hi, everybody. How do we enjoy the football and other things last night?
The football was fine. The football was fine.
Oh, the football was horrible. You could say it.
No, I mean it was exactly as one would expect when a very good team plays a fine team.
Yeah.
And Drake May was made to look very, very, very human, as Seattle has done to basically every quarterback that wasn't Matt Stafford.
Human? I'd say bad.
Well, sure. Yeah.
In
the
fact,
bad form of humans playing football.
There is some stats out there about Drake May's Super Bowl performance and how it compares to other bad Super Bowl performances. And he's very near the top.
I enjoyed everything. I was a little disappointed we didn't get the shutout. That's kind of what I was going for.
I was hoping for the all field goals.
Yeah, that would have been
the score.
fun too.
The all field goal shutout was definitely the thing that I was rooting for.
18-0.
Yeah.
Jason Myers 6 field goal game.
Yeah, that's what I was rooting for. And then there would have been a whole big discussion about who wins MVP and stuff like that.
I have thoughts.
Really?
Yeah, on the MVP.
You think if you would have given him if it would have been 6 field goals and no other points scored in the entire game,
I wouldn't have given it to him either.
Wow.
There's someone else that I would have given it to in both this case and in that case.
Somebody on defense, probably.
I don't know. We'll have to wait till Man of the Weekend.
Somebody on defense. All right, so we'll do that coming up as we go on throughout the show today. On the program, happy Monday, everybody. Happy. They're telling me it's supposed to be 70 degrees. My weather people in my ear are telling me that it's supposed to be about 70 degrees today. So
that sounds about right.
Enjoy the golf courses if that's what everybody's doing.
Well, famously, they have the day off. It's the day after the Super Bowl. Nobody worked.
They don't have the day off. You have to go to work today.
I mean,
who has the day off today?
People that scheduled the day off.
Well, you could take a vacation.
People who have that luxury.
They could take their PTO today.
You could take a vacation day if you have thought about it long ago. You could take a sick day if you're a person who cops out on work late, or you could just go to work like everybody else.
Well, not everybody. There's going to be people that take today off. Today feels like the sort of day that like offices have less people in them and everyone knows why, and it's just like a wink, wink, nod.
Is it really just universally accepted that you don't have to do anything today?
I mean, I haven't worked.
This is embarrassing.
I haven't worked a real job in 15 years or close to it. So
yeah.
I mean, I'm not like the person to ask here. So
what happens?
I'm trying to think. Have I ever?
What happens in America on the day after the Super Bowl? None of us work normal jobs.
I've never had the only like office job I ever had. I started the week after the Super Bowl. So, and then I left that in August.
So you never got a Super Bowl.
So I never would have had that experience to begin with.
Okay.
I mean, and then
Joey, what was going on at Hy-Vee the day after the Super Bowl?
It's pretty much a normal day.
Did everybody show up to work?
Chip display.
Yeah. People show up to work.
Good. That's good.
They have to take all their displays down.
Someone's got to make the breakfast.
They have to take all their displays down.
I mean, that's a big part of it.
All of the boxes. Yes.
They got to prep for Valentine's Day week.
That's right. Somebody does have to make the breakfast. Now, I believe I'll double check the old calendar here, but next year Super Bowl Sunday is
It's on Valentine's
is
Day.
on Valentine's Day.
Jordan
Look at that.
Love in the Super Bowl.
No, nobody thinks that, Joey. And then
Good storyline.
Yeah, well, your special teams is going to get you to the Super Bowl. Joey.
which makes
Might
the
as well give Rich
next
Bisaccia
day,
the MVP.
since it's so late, which makes the next day President's Day,
which is
a day that some people actually do have off
yeah, because of markets and whatnot.
because of markets and whatnot.
This is kind of what the people want to have happen, is that they add the extra NFL games and it just plays to where it works out that you have President's Day the day after the Super Bowl.
I bet they do. Anything for them to not work.
People love not working.
Exactly. Thank you, Mike, for writing this in on YouTube. What happens? You go to work, you talk about a game, and then you work. You work less just by just going to work. You really get a day off anyway. Everybody's going to be meeting around the water cooler talking about the football game.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much to discuss from last night's game.
America goes to work today. Yes, well, we could talk. So I get a text from Schaefer that said he boycotted the halftime show.
Did not boycott.
Classic Schaefer. Classic Schaefer boycotting the halftime
Did
show.
not boycott. Did not watch the halftime show, but not out of boycotting.
I thought it was very convenient that Schaefer was like, I guess I have to put the kid down during
That's
the halftime
my job
show.
on Sundays at 7:30.
It takes a while to get that done.
It does.
It
Doesn't take a full 20-minute show.
It probably does. Yeah.
Well, we had to leave the place we were at watching the Super Bowl and then drive home, and then I went upstairs with him, and then he has a routine that he likes to follow before he goes to bed.
So I have been tasked with explaining the halftime show to Schaefer.
Yeah.
Which I can't because I can't translate
It was
any of the words.
wonderful to return to my phone, and there's texts of people that proclaim that they liked it, and then texts from people that proclaim that they didn't.
It's
like
incredible.
it. And it's largely people that I could have assigned the like or dislike.
Correct.
Before.
And they all had their minds made up.
And then you
several
go to
weeks
any of
ago.
the social media places that aren't Instagram, because nobody has opinions on Instagram, just photos.
That is better. Yes.
Any of the other ones, and it's the same thing.
It's okay to say that it wasn't for you. It's okay. It's okay to say like, oh, well, I would have probably preferred that it was in English or so. It's okay to say that.
There's like a bar that
You don't have to be like, oh my God, it was the best ever. Now I enjoyed the performance. He's really good. I like Bad Bunny, but you don't have to be like, oh my God, it was incredible.
It just, you knew before this game ever kicked off, like who was going to feel what about the halftime show. So
You sure
I
did.
never checked in on the other one, but I did have a pretty sizable laugh at the fact that the copyright stuff kept them off of the platform that they largely built this entire thing on.
Hilarious. I saw no clips.
I saw some later in the second half.
Okay. I would have figured that something would have crossed my way at some point via someone, but it never really happened.
They hadn't even gotten to Kid Rock before the end of the actual halftime.
Oh, like before they started the football again?
Yeah. I don't know whether that's true or not. I'm willing to believe it. I'm not willing to investigate further.
Excellent. We can also talk about commercials. I mean, this is a pastime in radio where you talk about we could rank our top 10 commercials. I don't pay attention to the commercials anymore. Something happened to me. I don't know, like at COVID, something happened to a lot of people during COVID, but that's a line of delineation for seemingly everything where I don't track them anymore. They're basically in one ear and out the other. They don't feel as big, maybe because they put them on the internet the week before and you see them all anyway. Or, I mean, at the same time, I'm the guy who there was a commercial that they were talking about it on a crossover one day that everyone's like, yeah, this commercial's played 1,000 times and I had never seen it before. It was the one where Nick Saban's in there doing something.
He's a VRBO.
Yes, it was that one. I was like, I'd never seen that before.
That's incredible.
And they were like, yeah, it plays every college football game like 100 billion times. I'm like, I've never seen it in my entire life. Did. So it's in one ear and out the other. And
it played like between every break of the college football playoff.
If you told me like some things that happened, I'd be like, oh yeah, I guess I remember that one. But they're not going to stick in my mind at all.
Yeah, there was a commercial that involved Ben Stiller. An Instacart that
I don't remember that
enjoyed. It was very early in the game.
Okay.
The people that I was watching the game with, they have a cousin who was involved with the production of the Levi's commercial. So there was buzz about.
I can't wait till the Levi's commercial.
Yeah, there was buzz for this Levi's commercial, and she like choreographs. And she's been involved with Super Bowl commercials for years, and so there's always one that they're looking forward to. And this year was Levi's, and so that commercial finally hits, and it's just people shaking their butt for the entirety of the commercial because Levi's jeans or whatever.
Yeah,
and it gets done, and like there's been this sort of like, oh, I wonder what the commercial is going to be. And then everyone's like, oh, wow.
Do you think, was there a thought like, oh, it's going to be like super creative and artsy? It was just like butt shaking.
She's a former professional dancer that now choreographs like that. She's hired to choreograph stuff for commercials.
So there you go.
So then it was kind of like, I guess you were hired to choreograph these people just shaking their butts.
It's, by the way, just quick side here. The Winter Olympics are on this morning. Somebody just wiped out on a, and it wasn't a replay of the Lindsey Vonn situation, which we could talk about a little bit later, but somebody just lost it on this downhill. Yikes. All right.
I attempted to explain curling to my son yesterday while watching the United States take on.
Now that's got to be difficult.
Estonia. So it was not easy.
Did we win?
We're already in the Y phase.
Yeah.
And I don't even know. I didn't get to finish it. They had like a big.
I assume we won.
Seventh. I don't know if they're called frames. I don't know what the terminology of curling is.
I don't either.
It was like the seventh game or whatever.
Okay.
They had a breakthrough at that point.
Okay. So we're not sure if we won.
Unclear. It wasn't a gold medal game. It was still in the round robin.
I will assume we won. Until someone proves me otherwise. All right. Today on the show, we will have Tim Verghese at 8:30, Michael Brunson 9:15. That is our lineup. Also, our man of the weekend coming up here in just a little while. We are staying tuned for Schaefer's because he's going to tell us who really should have won the Super Bowl MVP. Elsewhere today on the show, a variety of different things. We'll recap the Super Bowl, the football parts of the Super Bowl anyway. We'll take a look back at our prop bets. I will tell you that each of us gave out multiple prop bets on Friday's show, at least 3 each. Only one bet out of all of our bets would have cashed.
Ouch.
One for like 12 or 13. That is horrible, folks. Not very good. So we will make fun of ourselves in that regard. We will have on top of talking about the local basketball from this weekend, we will have a listen to 2 of our local college basketball announcers who did some yelling and laughing and things like that this weekend. We will have that college basketball in general from this weekend. We will check in with Rob Manfred yet again. Hi, Rob. How do you think about baseball today? I hate it. That's what Rob Manfred says, and he's trying to make it so you can't watch it yet again.
I was gonna check in with you as to whether you had saw that news.
Oh, I have seen it. Now, I don't think it's as like doomsday. Well, I'll explain it a little bit later. It's not as doomsday of a scenario as some people are making it out to be, but it's another excuse to make fun of Rob Manfred, which I appreciate. And North Dakota State moving to FBS to the Mountain West this year. Usually there's like a 4-year waiting period on this thing, which does that make, are they going to be playoff eligible next year? I mean, there's a lot to sort through here.
Well, they're not eligible for a bowl game until like 2028, I think.
Are you sure?
I think I saw something yesterday about that. I'll have to take a look.
Interesting. I haven't heard the NCAA comment on that at all. So that is the setup for today. Look at this. A comment here from Noah, College Baseball Noah.
Good old Noah.
On Twitter. College baseball is back this week, fellas. The people's sport. Tidings, Yusuf. Hell yeah, college baseball is back.
Apparently, Nebraska plays on MLB Network on Friday night.
It's a big game for Nebraska. It's a big game for the Big East.
Big East.
You haven't learned college baseball until you learned about Big East baseball.
I learned that UConn played a much more difficult schedule than they got credit for last year, and were kept out of the tournament anyways, so we could have 13 SEC teams.
Same thing with Xavier.
Yeah. I don't know Xavier's case as much. UConn had went to Miami. They had played They played a bunch of teams.
Xavier's whole bit is that they're going to get destroyed and win 0 games in all of their non-conference games. But if they could win like 2 of them, they'll probably have enough in the RPI category to be able to make a case for themselves. And
that's effectively how Will Bolt was scheduling for about 4 years.
They followed it to a T last year, and they got left on the doorstep of the NCAA tournament. Same thing with UConn. So
dumb.
Creighton was the only representative of the Big East last year, winning both the regular season and the postseason tournament at Prasco Park. What a place. I'll tell you more about Prasco Park in May. But thank you, Noah. Hell yeah. College baseball is back. We are off and running on a Monday. Thank you for being up with us. Thank you for being at work today. We're back after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, Monday morning here on Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone, and on 1620thezone.com. Coming off of the Super Bowl last night. Was Drake May bad, or was Seattle's defense just all-time good? Let's debate it. Embrace debate. 951-1620.
Would you like me to embrace?
Well, I figured you have a strong opinion one way or the other.
I do have a strong. This is a great Seattle team. Like it was amazing how much resistance I felt like I would hear of people who just didn't want to admit that this was a great team coming in. Everyone expected Sam Darnold to shipwreck it at some point. He never did. He had a great playoff.
No turnovers the entire playoffs.
The thing that also would, I saw this come up a little bit, and it's like, oh, the Patriots don't have enough weapons, like this, that, the other. This team put Kyle Shanahan's offense in a body bag 2 straight weeks, or not 2 straight weeks, but 2 straight games for it, week 18 and the divisional round, and just dominated them. Like, that's one of the most creative offenses in the league with Christian McCaffrey, and they're always injured, so there's something always going on there. But like,
that's it. I mean,
they took care of that team twice.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt that they were the best team. They were the best defense in the. They've probably the best defense in the NFL in a while.
People kept looking for reasons to not believe, and so it's like,
but you know why?
So there's Darnold, but it's also like, oh, look at what the Rams did, and it's like the Rams are the only team that did that to him,
right?
And Baker Mayfield's Bucks. That was it.
Because everybody had waited all year long for a good offense to come around that could hang in there on defense and beat them and make Sam Darnold actually win the game for them, and they never had to do it. It never had to happen for them, and that is a credit to them. But it does leave the palate like unfulfilled a little bit, because people want to watch the quarterback win the Super Bowl, and when you watch the defense win the Super Bowl, I'm not arguing that. No,
I get it,
but I'm explaining why.
I'm also just like
a little unsatisfying that Seattle won the Super Bowl. Like, I think the best team in the NFL won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So that part should whet your appetite, right? It should fulfill you in that regard. But like, I'm explaining to you the reasons why it feels like it might not have been felt that way.
Well, I just was surprised at how much, and it was all season where it's like, yeah, Seattle's good, but they're not the Rams. Yeah, Seattle's good, but like Sam Darnold's going to wreck their season. Yeah, Seattle's good, but, and then eventually people ran out of butts.
Yeah.
And at some point you could have just looked up in their last 9 games, they played a bunch of playoff teams. Nobody played well against them outside of the Rams. And even the Rams in the NFC Championship game was sort of lucky to have been as close as they were, because if they don't get the 15-yard taunting penalty, that game's over earlier. Instead of
they were the one team that could have beat them.
Exactly. And so I was a little just like surprised at one, how long it took people to get there with Seattle, and then 2, it's like you had people you clearly had not watched them most of the year when they're seeing them in the Super Bowl, and their takeaway was like, oh, wow, this defense is really good. Like, yeah.
Okay, yeah. If you hadn't admitted that their defense was the best one in the NFL after, like, week 3, then you have a problem. Like,
I think a lot of people...
It was a long time ago.
I think a lot of people, because they played on the West Coast, didn't watch them. And then that first Rams-Seahawks game wasn't a nationally televised game. That was like a regional one, even though it was at 3:25. Because there was some other game, I don't know, it was Chiefs-Ravens that day, that was like the big, like, America gets this.
Mm-hmm.
And then very few people got that, unless you had Sunday Ticket or whatever. And then their second meetup was on a Thursday night football game, which, I mean, is appointment viewing for me, but other people don't always view Thursday NFL as, it's
must watch.
Not as much. It's harder for some people just because your schedules or whatever, And so it felt like they didn't get a lot of people watching them in the same way as if it was an East Coast team that plays in a lot more of a.
Well, I think it was more of just like they weren't all that good last year, right? Like,
they were a 10-win team last year. They weren't bad. They missed the playoffs on a tiebreaker.
They had come off a stretch of being not good for some time. Like, they'd sort of fallen out of the public favor, given what they had been before in the previous run. And then you go out and get Darnold. Like, once again, I'm not saying that I agree with any of this, but from a really, really big picture public perspective, it's not very difficult to figure out why people didn't buy in on them as a team until late in the season. If you couldn't figure out that they had the best defense in the NFL in like October, then I don't know what you were watching. Like I don't know your excuses for not knowing it at this point. If you were like last night, you're like, oh wow, look at these guys, you know.
I mean, but you
I
see the same stuff I do. Like there was doubt about him throughout the entirety of it.
Yeah,
it wasn't just Darnold; it was the team as a whole.
I think there's also when you get to be the in the Super Bowl and then Super Bowl champions, you also get compared to previous teams, previous Super Bowl champions, and the common consensus around the NFL this year was that it was wide open and that there was, not one or two or three or four runaway teams. It was kind of just this big group. And obviously the AFC was completely wide open and there was some injuries and stuff like that. And then the NFC came down to, really the Rams and the Seahawks, which ended up playing in the NFC Championship game and had the game of the game of the year, basically. And that's what it was supposed to be. That was the best two teams. And so there was just this kind of like, yeah, well, the Super Bowl is going to kind of be a bummer because the second best team is already out.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the Patriots are on the best team ranking, but they muddled their way through a postseason, for a variety of different reasons, most of which being that the AFC just wasn't very good.
Yeah, so I basically came down to it, whereas the NFC was two teams in the Seahawks and Rams. And then the AFC probably had, to me, like the next 4 or 5 best teams, but there was like a teardrop there. And then the NFC sort of comes back in with like the Eagles, Bears, whatever at that point. Like it just felt like a year in which you didn't feel like there was any super team. There certainly was no dynasty Chiefs team that you had to worry about or anything like that. And so the Seattle had emerged early because of that defense. And then, Jackson Smith-Njigba was really good. And they didn't even really need any of that on Sunday. I mean, Kenneth Walker reminded people like, hey, I'm actually a really good running back. And they put me in this timeshare that made, every fantasy owner annoyed all year long. And then, oh yeah, I'm still really good. I just had to share with Zach Charbonnet.
The other
all the time.
And then he tore his
I would
ACL.
Get us down inside the red zone, and then we're in the 10-yard line, and I got 4 carries all year.
Can't confirm. Yeah.
Charbonnet had 12 touchdowns or whatever.
Kenneth Walker was my running back this year, and it was very sad.
But and then from the Nebraska perspective, I always go back to just how Herculean their effort was in 2021 against him. He was amazing. He had 2 bad games all year.
20 carries for like 60-some yards.
61 yards.
Yeah.
He averaged like 3-point yards a carry, 3 point something.
What happened at the end of that game? They must have won.
Well, the difference is his Australian punter is pretty good and knows where the direction it's going. But no, I mean, he was great. I thought actually with Darnold, there was some stuff, passing wise that wasn't spectacular, but
I thought for sure
he was awareness was like on point last night.
I thought for sure he was dancing with the devil a little bit.
I actually thought he showed up like how good his arm was because he hit some windows early that the Patriots were like clearly trying to jump those.
Yeah.
And he had it just perfectly past him. And then he should have hit Smith-Njigba for a touchdown. That was a bad throw on that one.
There was one to Shaheed later too.
Yeah, and that one, did he lose the ball in the lights? Like Shaheed's running and then also he throws his arms up in the air. I actually thought like maybe that was like a 50-50. Either one could have been at fault for it.
Wasn't Gonzalez covering Shaheed on that play? Because he was all over the place on those deep balls.
Yeah, he was.
Gonzalez made an incredible diving to prevent Shaheed on another deep ball from Darnold. So, but his pocket awareness was like the thing that really stood out to me. He sidestepped a bunch of guys. He had like a 12-yard run that won the over for him, and then he lost it.
Correct.
At I sent you the text after.
Well, you know what the total was, right?
It was
5.5, and he ended up at 5.
Yeah, because he lost 7 yards on a
just
meaningless
running around
play at the end of the game.
That was great.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed that. Awesome, very good.
Would have been amazing had you been one of those people.
I thought he was like,
He was fine. He wasn't great.
This
He wasn't
is the
good.
other
He wasn't
thing.
bad.
Like this is obviously the other thing with them. It's the Darnold of it all, and
which just like I can tell you're like annoyed by the conversation, but it's funny because everyone spent the entire playoffs. Like, you can't win with Sam Darnold. You can't win with Sam Darnold.
Oh no, I'm one of those people, and we just never found we never found a team with a good enough defense and the quarterback who was clearly better, and that's where we ended up. No
defense was able to make him look bad. They did a nice job of like he never was really in a position where he had to.
No, they were on time. I mean, they were winning the entire
the NFC
time.
Championship
the game script went on their side completely every time.
Yeah.
They would just run the ball, and then when they wanted to, it was play action. He's got like the best receiver in the NFL, and so we have this difficulty of where to assign credit and blame and all that stuff. And I think I would make the case that he had. A replacement level role in their championship season. That would be my case.
No. He did not play at a replacement level to beat the Rams.
A replacement level for
I would say that.
Let me rephrase this so I don't get jumped all over here. Okay, so a replacement level, not as far as like a backup in the NFL, but a replacement level from the perspective of like, I don't know, top 15-ish quarterbacks or something like that. Like he was fine.
Yeah, I would say like
he had a fine season.
That if you build everything else right, you can win the Super Bowl with the 14th best quarterback.
Right, and that's not what teams in the NFL are searching.
When you said replacement level,
I'm not talking about Geno Smith,
right?
Yes.
So, I think that's also the other big thing here is because everything in the NFL is about what the most successful team has done. And if we're currently in this phase where you look at all the teams that won divisions, other than maybe like Drake May, because I don't think we're there yet for Bo Nix, it's not like there's this next generation yet of superstar quarterbacks where you're just like 100% him. Like Caleb Williams, I think could be really good, but I think he also can completely shipwreck you too. So he's very much in that category. It's what else the Bears can put around him. So it just kind of, we're looking at some fascinating team builds in the NFL. I think we're like in a really unique situation where the Chiefs feel like they've on their way out to where I'm not expecting any kind of bounce back run from them right away next year.
Hard to tell. I don't know if they I would assume that there's some sort of
that division's tough. Like that's the other thing.
There's some sort of like reemergence. I don't know what it looks like, but
I don't think they're going away.
Right.
But I don't know that they're going to be at the level that they're in the AFC Championship game, like setting your clock to it.
Yeah, and that's not very exciting, right? Like, are we going into a time where
the question becomes: is Seattle set up to do this? Because if the Rams couldn't get it done this year, I have a tough time imagining next year Stafford could be even better in that situation. Maybe he could.
Oh, I thought you were sort of making the case of like this is the way that teams are going to start to build.
No, some might, but I think it just means that the NFL is in a more open period for competitiveness.
Yeah.
Than maybe what they were previous.
I think it's a really good way to win 12 games. I think if you could have a really, really, really good defense and a quarterback that doesn't shipwreck you, like you said, and a good run game, like that's a great way to win 12 games.
Yeah.
And that's what both the teams in the Super Bowl did this year. They won more than that, but that's what both the teams in the Super Bowl did. And it wasn't like we never viewed them as like, in the grand scale of the last 10 years of 10 Super Bowls or whatever of like, oh, these are championship caliber teams. We viewed them as good teams.
Yeah.
And a better team beat another good regular season / postseason team.
I think we're more likely heading for an extended run of that than we are of like a Patriots Chiefs level dynasty from the Seahawks or anything of that.
Okay.
Nature.
Well, it opens it up for everybody else, but you wonder what's more fun for everybody? What's more fun?
I mean, it's all subjective, right? Like if your team's in the mix, it's certainly more fun.
Right.
If you're a Broncos or a Chargers fan, nothing about the last decade was fun, even if the Chiefs were setting the NFL standard. Not a casual
NFL fan, but as a person who doesn't have a team, really, shout out to the Panthers. Sorry. I would like there to be, the teams in the Super Bowl feel like all-time championship caliber teams with like with all-time great quarterbacks or superstar quarterbacks and stuff like. It's the reason why we all wanted Josh. I mean, this is a better way to describe the entire thing. It's the reason why we all wanted Josh Allen in the Super Bowl.
Sure, but that Bills team wouldn't have been an all-time team. It would have just had Josh Allen.
It would have had Josh Allen though.
So you have an all-time quarterback.
It's quarterback.
Yeah.
It's a quarterback.
I get that. That's why I just think we're sort of headed to this where I don't know that like a quarterback built team, like where so much of it is just this guy has to put it all on his shoulders. I don't know that that's going to get through in the next couple years.
I mean, clearly there's. I
just think we're in a league shift right now.
Yeah, there's a path. I mean, if you look at what Seattle did, it's it's a lot of money on their defense and enough on their quarterback and not a lot on their running game. And they found a way to make that sort of math equation work for them. All right, so we'll talk more about the game itself as we go on a little bit later in the show. But when we return, it's our main of the weekend coming up next on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. our man of the weekend. Doesn't have to be a man. You can give it to whoever you'd like. I won't even give you suggestions. I really racked my brain on this last night, trying to think about what I would do, and I didn't really come up with anything good. So I'm going to go off the beaten path a little bit here. So I can't wait to hear what you guys have coming up here. Anybody want to volunteer to go first?
I can go first. I felt like the real MVP in the game on Sunday.
You sound like the real MVP.
The real MVP.
Like the real halftime show?
Like the real halftime show, which was Bad Bunny, apparently.
Okay.
I would know. I didn't watch. I mean, I didn't see it.
I know you didn't watch.
I did not see it. I had to put a 2-year-old down.
You have obligations.
So I could have given this to my child who turns 2 today. We had his birthday on Saturday. You really haven't enjoyed life until you watch your child go through a birthday where they don't really know what's going on, but could not be more excited to be the center of attention. Plus, he got a bunch of stuff. I need a storage unit now to store all of his crap.
I got you.
It's a
little expensive, but I got you.
Yeah. And so he had a great weekend. Sam Darnold obviously had a great weekend. Reek Mast had a great weekend.
All your people had great weekends.
John Bishop had a great weekend. These are all worthy options, but none of them are Seattle punter Michael Dixon, who should have won the MVP. He had a tremendous game, maybe one of the best punting games you'll ever see. And he had 7 punts. He finished with 3 of them inside the 20, which is a lie. I mean, they were inside the 10.
They were inside like the 5.
He had like several inside the 10. He had 1 or 2 inside the 5.
There was
he had
one at the 1.
1. So he had 1 at the 4, I think 1 at the 1, 1 at the 4, and 1 at the 7. Just outstanding punts. And he finishes with like a 47-yard average, whatever. People don't care about that much. He had 4 holds that were perfect for the
Seahawks, the one he had to pick up,
snagging one off the turf, completely.
That was utterly on field goal number 4 for.
But he just nonchalantly just rips that thing off the turf, spins it so the laces are out, and they knock it through to go up 12-0. He had a tackle on a kickoff return. The man was
He threw his head in there.
He was talking trash.
What about?
I thought Michael Dixon deserved a real case to be the MVP. He was outstanding.
Now, Schaefer,
I will not see better punting.
I could argue that I did see better punting last night in that same game.
Oh, you got the Patriots punter?
I'm the Patriots punter trying to not, like Shaheed didn't do anything in the game. He was like the X factor.
That's fair. I mean, I can understand that.
But he can't win MVP because they got killed.
Well, that. Yeah. I also don't have the stuff with the holding in there, so he's not directly related to points in that regard.
Is he not? I have no idea if there's.
The other thing is, all the Patriots did was receive kickoffs, get to about the 38-yard line, and then he would punt it to the 10. That was the entirety of the not to take away from what he was doing because he did it.
Yeah.
But
I just had to give a shout out to Bryce Behringer.
Less impressive than Michael Dixon. It's a
field position matters in that game.
Someone who loves Big Ten West football, and you're sad that the division is gone, that was early a game for you in a lot of ways. And then late with Drake May with all the turnovers, a game for you.
Yep.
I bet
really an ode to the Big Ten West.
I bet those punt guys from the Nebraska-Iowa game were having a field day.
The guys in the punt sweaters. Yes. Those guys
hopefully they wore them because they would have been hits at their Super Bowl party for being so smart.
Yeah, and very interestingly, when I went and looked on the various sportsbook apps, maybe I just didn't find it on when I went to finally look at these. Couldn't find the punt one. Couldn't find the punt prop, which I take every year. The over on punts it's usually about 6.5.
15.
We had 15 punts.
15
punts.
And they were good punts. It was a great.
They were great punts. There weren't any shanks.
So yeah, Michael Dixon should have been the MVP in this game. I thought he deserved it a little more than Kenneth Walker and his 100 whatever yards.
15 punts, 0 shanks. Joey?
Well, I'm going to take a different route. It's not going to be a human. It's going to be in an organization. I'm my man of the weekend, the PGA.
What? What did they do?
So the Waste Management Open. You were kind of ranting about it on Friday, just
Yes.
how
My father-in-law
how fan-
strongly disagrees with your take.
I'm sure many people do.
Of the Waste Management. He wanted me to let you know that.
Okay, thank you.
Well, with how fans kind of disrespected just how the event goes. So the streamer, the kid named Jack Doherty.
No.
He's
Familiar. I actually weirdly know this name.
He's a kick streamer. He does a bunch of prank videos, and he gets into a lot of trouble. So
seems very punchable.
So he was at the Waste Management Open, and he basically filmed himself telling a fan, I'll pay you $100 to say a curse word while one of the golfers is like set and making a move, and he did it. PGA caught him right away, and when it happened, Jack Doherty pointed out the person that yelled the word. He said, it wasn't me. PGA was able to act right away and kick him out, and then they banned him from all future major events.
Good job.
And he posted a video later on complaining, saying they were basically soft and he didn't do anything wrong. Kind of the same old.
No, he definitely did.
Story.
You just explained all the stuff.
Oh yeah.
Joey, this is a great job by you. So shout out to the PGA, yes, for finally taking some action on these.
Do you recognize who this guy is?
No, I never seen him, but there is this run on people on the internet who like to just go mess with people's days and make that content.
Yeah.
And here's the thing.
I'm gonna go to the grocery store and dump milk on somebody's head.
Here's the thing about
content.
Here's the thing about this kid. He has security following him around, so he'll try to provoke any man on the street, and when they do, he'll just hide behind the security guard, cowarding in fear.
Yep, this guy's an idiot.
PGA, my man of the weekend.
Good job, PGA, the man of the weekend. Also for allowing Brooks Koepka to come back and play golf.
Oh, wow.
We all want to watch that.
He's basically begging.
Well, he was there.
He was.
He was playing some golf. Who won that, by the way?
It was Chris Gotterup, I believe. He won in the playoff against Matsuyama, who had the lead going into the last hole, and took the bogey. And then at that point, coverage went away from there over to the Super Bowl. But I believe it was I don't know how many holes the playoff went, but
okay, there was a playoff. I didn't see any beer showers on 16, so I didn't see any aces this weekend. Was I just not paying attention? It's very possible that I just missed a lot of it.
I don't recall seeing any social media of it. I honestly,
we definitely would have seen it on social media.
Sunday afternoon, and I'm over at where we're watching the game, and the golf is on, and it's like, man, I hadn't thought about this all weekend, other than when we talked about it. Like I hadn't had it on. I hadn't,
That's good. I'm glad that event got covered up by the Super Bowl. Maybe less people will start going.
He got covered up by a hell of a day on Saturday in college basketball that we'll get to.
So that's another thing that I didn't see much of on Saturday, although you could argue I saw a lot. For my man of the weekend, it's me. I made it from Pinnacle Bank Arena to CHI Health Center in 48 minutes on Saturday. 48 minutes. I was telling people, the Nebraska women's game started at 1. The Creighton game started at 5. My presence is required at both of them. And I told the people who needed to know at Creighton, I said, no big deal. I got this. Don't worry. Everything will be fine. But in the back of my head, I'm thinking, oh, we gotta have a bunch of stuff go right in order for this to really work. The game's got to end at the appropriate time. I got to get out of there fast. I got to hit the gas. No traffic downtown Omaha, which is impossible. Like I got to have some stuff go right for me, and I did. The paths cleared and allowed me to drive from arena to arena in 48 minutes. I don't know that anybody has ever done that before. So I am the man of the weekend.
The impressive part to me is just being able to get out of like the sort of how you're stuck in that Haymarket area to get looped back around.
I got a secret way.
And so if you were able to pull that off, you're able to get onto the interstate quickly enough. And then you got to do the same thing. You get down to the CHI and deal with all of that.
There's kind of a secret way on that one too, but it was closed for a minute. Now it's back open. It's very
You got to get an escort to get out of that pretty quickly and on a really busy day.
I only trust myself. I only now if I could get someone to like move on the way out, hilariously, I was behind literally a horse-drawn carriage for a few minutes trying to get out on the one lane road out of there. And
incredible.
And I was like, all right, I'm going past. Thomas writes in, that is soft, Connor. It is, admittedly. I can tell you probably that this won't be the last time that I make myself the man
Yeah, I
of
was
the
gonna
weekend.
say. I think we're settling in for at least once a month. Connor will have determined that he actually had a better weekend than literally everyone else.
Sometimes I do amazing things.
All of these options, and he went with himself.
Exactly.
Whatever.
I thought it was the best option.
I'm impressed that you did it in sub 50 minutes. Like that's remarkable.
Yep, I was probably going a little too quick.
Well, I'm glad nothing happened.
And I'm not I'm not usually like a huge I speed on the interstate guy, but
desperate times call for desperate measures.
I was cooking a little bit on Saturday, no doubt about it. All right, that's our man of the weekend. We will come back 7:00 hour. Plenty to cover, including that big weekend in college basketball. More on the football game last night and everything in between. Back after this on 1620 The Zone. Whoa, check this out. This just crossed my timeline or crossed my my desk here into the Happer and Schaefer news desk. Enter online at 1620thezone.com for a chance to win a year's supply of Girl Scout cookies.
Whoa. That's a lot of Thin Mints.
Now that's going to make you want to go to 1620thezone.com. To be more exact, Schaefer, it is 0 Thin Mints. It is mostly all caramel delights. I mean that's what I would do, but you could do whatever you want, I suppose. Brought to you by Girl Scout Spirit of Nebraska. It runs, so Girl Scout cookie season runs from now until March 15th. The cookie booths will start on Friday, just in time for Valentine's Day. And there's a new cookie this year, Explore More's. Like it's inspired by Rocky Road ice cream with chocolate and marshmallow flavors. All cookie proceeds stay in Nebraska and support Girl Scouts. All of those things, you buy them anyway. So why not win them for free right now?
I want to
1620thezone.com.
What is how many flavors we got now?
I think we're up to like 8 or 9. Is there more?
It looks like there's 9 of them.
Okay.
These are one of the fascinating things is that the cookies are called different things based on the bakers. There's 2 different bakery types that make the cookies.
Oh.
And so in some parts of the country, they're called Samoas and tagalongs and things like that. In other parts of the country, it's caramel delights.
I thought they ditched the
peanut butter
the
patties.
Samoa's thing overall.
No, it's just where it's made.
Really?
I read an LA Times story on this like 10 years ago.
Okay.
Very actually enlightening. But there's 9 different types now. So that's
Wow.
that's exciting. I'm like you. I would call them Samoas because that's what they were. But I would go with a bunch of caramel delights. I like the lemonades. I'm a fan of those.
Me too. I do not want any of the Thin Mints.
The Thin Mints are fine. The peanut butter ones are fine. I'm interested in this Explore More's though as well. So they're called Lemon Ups. So this is the name of the ones.
Yeah, I've seen
this is the name of the ones that I don't think appear in Nebraska. You have trefoils, Lemon Ups. Can't read what this is over here. So I gotta.
Are you gonna buy these Girl Scout cookies on eBay?
And people can, I guess.
Or
Not
you
me.
could just go to 1620thezone
and win a bunch of them. Do-si-dos,
and
tag-alongs.
Enter to win. Okay. We thought we would by the way, Andrew writes in, how many angry wives and girlfriends will there be next year when the Super Bowl falls on Valentine's Day? It's very easy, guys. You could it's good.
That's why there's a Saturday.
That's why there's a Saturday. That's why there's a Friday. Just take some time and think about it. You do have to be a little bit proactive, which, you know, if you're like me and you wait until Super Bowl Sunday to go to Costco, that's probably not your strong suit.
Ooh.
But you do have to think ahead a little bit.
Did you make stuff yesterday? What'd you have?
I had to get some stuff for the thing that we were going to. And then I had to get some like general groceries anyway. It was wild in there.
Chaotic.
I decided to get my car washed yesterday morning.
Oh, I bet there was a lot of people
No,
in that thing too.
it was dead over there. It was about 8:00 when I was there.
Okay. Yeah. If you wait a couple
Joey
more
went
hours.
early.
Yeah. If you wait a couple more hours, you're in bad shape.
Today's our car wash warning day. If you're getting in line at 1, it's probably going to be a while.
Get in line now. Get in line.
Probably a smart idea.
All right. This weekend, and we'll go more in depth on our local basketball teams, likely as we go on throughout the show here. But I just thought the overarching headline, the thing that touched both Creighton and Nebraska this weekend, is the radio. Folks, we love the radio. Nebraska's win at Rutgers was, what do we call it? Casual brutality.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the story.
More or less what they do.
Rick Mast is back. He's doing all sorts of creative shots. He's looking good. That's a good thing for Nebraska before they get ready for Purdue. Tomorrow, Creighton does ridiculous things again and again and again. And as I had a feeling on Friday, they of course go and beat Seton Hall. But there was some doubt, like being down by 9 with 90 seconds left.
Yeah,
there was some doubt there.
Seton Hall had to have been an incredible plane ride back to New Jersey after that just inability to close out a game.
Silence.
Absolutely incredible if you're Seton Hall how you did not win that game.
So we thought we would, like I said, we thought we would touch base with both of our local announcers, both Kent Pavelka of the Husker Sports Network and John Bishop here of 1620 The Zone. And we have a little over a minute from each of them, and we have some clips as well. Let's go to John first here. John and Taylor Stormberg. And it gets a little chaotic, so bear with them as Nick Graves knocks down a game-winning three.
Parker twirls the basketball. Shot is up. It is in and out. Rebound, Jason Green. 16 seconds to go. Jays down 2. Here comes Graves. Graves, 12 o'clock. 10, 9. Green outside the arc. Gives it to Graves with 7. Graves with 5. Graves, step back. 3 on the way.
No!
2 seconds left. Inbound. Here's Parker. Out. No. Shot is no. No good. Jays win. Jays win. Jays win. Jays win. Jays win. And they are mobbing Nick Graves. Down goes that pirate ship to the bottom of the ocean. Nick Graves wins it on a guarded jumper with 2 seconds left. Take that, Seton Hall. Revenge, sweet revenge for 1 month ago. Holy moly, man, woman, and child. What a win.
He went on to yell for 14 consecutive more minutes, and that was pretty much the story before someone eventually came around and said, John, you have to sit down now, please.
Oh, I love it.
Okay. So when they went to break, was John running laps? Because that was what Taylor told me when I was talking to him.
Oh,
break.
he was up and moving. Yeah, he was up and moving. That's for sure. Like after the one right after the game ends, I think he usually goes, or like two after the game ends, he usually goes and grabs his case so he could get it ready to get out of there or whatever. But he's moving around a little bit. But I think there was some emotion behind that, not only because of how the first game went, but just the last 2 weeks have just been a nightmare for Creighton, obviously. And so it all came out in the form of being down 9 with 90 seconds left, and a bunch of stuff has to go your way, including our guy stepping on the line on an inbound play, couple missed free throws, Fedor Zugic turning into Steph Curry, and a heave Nick Graves 3 at basically the horn. And I will add Shaheen Holloway frozen like a statue with a timeout in his back pocket, not using it after Graves made the 3 down by 1 with about 3 seconds left. Bad call by you, Shaheen.
Yeah, just an all-around dumpster fire of a finish for Seton Hall, and another tremendous call from John Bishop. I enjoy very much. People might think that it's put upon because I don't really care about the team that won the game, but I love Bishop. I enjoy just listening to his sheer unbridled enthusiasm in these moments, and just the it
was
screaming.
Weird, man. It was after the game. I'm just like, what in the world is this season, man? And yeah. I almost brought me to tears. Like I felt emotion after the game.
It's a win that certainly will be bigger in the collective of like how it felt to be there than what it probably means for the season overall.
Definitely.
And
it was a great crowd. I didn't think it was going to be a very good crowd. I just thought that people kind of turned in, and it was a great crowd and the whole thing. And there were still some folks who left because it wasn't look good at the
it was a 9-point game. 90 seconds left.
I mean, people tend to leave basketball games at the under 4 if the team isn't winning,
especially
or if they're winning by too
over.
much, or whatever it is.
Great text from the 515. Did Creighton win? Great question. I don't know. You tell me.
Down goes that pirate ship to the bottom of the ocean.
He said that it was a it was probably tied for a record 7 Jays wins.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Tied only with the 2011 Missouri Valley baseball semifinal between Creighton and Missouri State.
I have to say, I don't know that I've ever heard a call where the action is still going. It's college basketball. There's a last shot opportunity, and the color analyst is screaming no before their shot is
You
even
can't
got off.
control what you say in those moments.
That's just
No!
insanity.
No!
It was a tremendous call. It's an important win for Creighton in the sense to just get the stink off of you.
Definitely.
If they had lost that game, the tailspin was very much already starting and could have gotten much, much worse. Now you have an opportunity with DePaul coming up to try to pull this thing back. It almost more than likely guarantees them a top 5 spot in the really horrible conference.
You just don't want to don't want to play on Wednesday.
Right. And so I don't know that it's going to revolutionize their season, but that's not really what it meant on Saturday.
No, it's not about
It was
that.
an opportunity to get a win in a game that you weren't probably
That's it.
feeling like you were going to. And
Let the game live and exist in its own moment.
It's the joy of sports. Like the people that were there that witnessed it absolutely loved it. I had it. I put it on for my in-laws at my son's birthday party, and was enjoying my own sort of version of events until things went the way that they did, and then they got to enjoy it, and I got to listen to John's call when Joey sent the text.
Zach emails in on the Equitable Bank inbox. Will there be any Pelini-esque leaked audio addressing the fans that left early? No, it's not really a big deal, but it was sort of funny. And then let's check in with Kent Pavelka. Kent on the road for. I was listening to the beginning of the broadcast because I was just getting to Lincoln at the time, and there was a lot of reference to the One Piece anime thing, which
naturally you can guess that they have absolutely no idea what this is, why this is, who these people are, any of it.
It's really, really funny. And then Nebraska just workman goes out and dominates. So you sort of are looking for something. Rutgers plays a very, very specific style of basketball, and that style of basketball is, I think we'll probably try and run into you for 40 minutes and see what happens. We saw it in Omaha on Saturday. I don't know how these teams, I know why they decided to build their teams this way, because they're not
as skilled.
Well, they don't have the ability to get good skill talent and, things like that.
Rutgers had 2 guys that were in the top 3 picks.
Yeah.
In the draft. So
there was
maybe a bit rare.
Maybe a bit of a one-off there. There was some special situation going on there. But anyway, so here is a minute and 7 seconds from the Huskers radio network, Husker Sports Network, on Saturday of Kent Pavelka and Jeff Smith referring to Rutgers' style of play.
Here's Buchanan. Oh, man, what is that? That's like a fullback running through the A-hole or the B-hole or the C-hole.
Gap, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Let's don't call it a hole.
The B-gap, the A-gap. But he what are the chances? What are the chances that makes chicken Nick?
Very good.
I just gave
I
them.
lost it on that one. I'm sorry, folks.
Yeah. Beg your pardon.
Let's get our composure back.
We work with the ball. Man.
Eyes are watering.
Hoiberg with it, sideline right, out to Price. Lobs in the mask and over his head and out of bounds.
Oh, that's not a good turnover.
Thanks for the correction.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
Okay. Should I do a read so I can?
Do something.
Anything else? So for the last 30 seconds, the game was going on.
Right,
is the best part, because Kent couldn't stop wheezing.
He could catch his breath to just be able to transition. He's talking about the A-hole and the B-hole and the C-hole.
I get what he was going for.
Yeah.
But the best line obviously you have the hilarity of Kent saying A-hole and B-hole in consecutive, right back to back. But the line of it came from Coach Jeff Smith, who said, "Gap, it's gap, it's gap." It's not. That's what we're talking about, right? Hold on, where'd my mouse go?
Here's Buchanan. Oh, man, what is that? That's like a fullback running through the A-hole or the B-hole or the C-hole.
Gap, I think it's called.
I think it's called gap.
I think we
it's
should
called
probably
gap.
refer to it as the gap. Not the hole. So now we have this forever.
That's like a fullback running through the A-hole or the B-hole.
I imagine the t-shirt purveyors could really have a good one, you know.
Oh, the t-shirts,
running through the a-hole.
the t-shirt
Nebraska
purveyors,
basketball.
of which there are many,
Yeah.
will be having themselves a field day with the conversation about. I mean, Kent is just having the time of his life right now.
It is a wonderful time to be Kent Pavel.
Maybe this is all received differently if he goes, if he accidentally talks about A-hole and B-hole when Nebraska's like 14-14 or something like that. But
Sure.
no, we don't have to deal with that reality this year.
No, they're just a casual 12-point win on the road in which if you had the 12.5, you're probably not feeling great about things, given that Nebraska could have put that away a little bit easier than they did. But
Was that the lie? I didn't
12.5 was the line.
Oh boy.
And they were up 17. It was like the Washington all over again, where the last minute and a half, they just kind of
I didn't even realize
Yeah.
they got bad beat kind of there.
a little bit. That's betting on college basketball lines is difficult. I wouldn't recommend it, but
Hey, you never know if that dude's going to throw up the half court shot at the end of the game.
exactly.
It may happen.
Exactly. So Nebraska with another, as you said, kind of just workman-like game. Like there was nothing about it that felt unsustainable. Nothing about it that felt fluky. Nothing about it that felt all that different than what they did before they ran into Michigan and Illinois last week.
I thought
There's
like
a return to form is kind of how I would say it.
definitely, and coming off of the Michigan and Illinois week, where I mean, there was a varying, I think, difference in concern about the team. I'd never had any long-term concern about them. I maybe think that we got probably a little bit too out in front of our skis, no pun intended, as we're watching the Olympics here, out in front of our skis on like them being the best team in the country or what, like we probably, so last week pulled that back a little bit. And now, like you said, return to form. Like this is what they are.
Huge opportunity.
I never had any concern about them going on the road and beating Rutgers.
No,
I really didn't, and I don't think you should. In these Penn State, Rutgers, and Maryland games, they have proven time and time again this year is like they're just gonna, whether the other team could play well, whatever, they're gonna take care of business.
A lot of it was just like show up and do it because Michigan State was just out there the week before and struggled to win that game. They won, then they, like in the Big Ten, you can certainly lose to anybody. As Minnesota, who just beat Michigan State, who just beat Illinois, drops a game on Sunday to Maryland. Like it's just if you don't show up, you will lose.
Exactly, and that's where I'm not worried about them.
This team has
they always show up
every single time in
Correct.
conference play. They're showing up, and chances are they're going to play a good basketball game.
They always show up. So they repeated that effort on Saturday, and then obviously the very, very positive development for them was that Mast looked like himself.
Yeah, he
is so awesome to watch.
Yeah.
He is like, if you go back and just watch Mast highlights, like just him, he is so creative. Because he is not, he's not the biggest, most physical guy. Like he's
cerebral. He's a cerebral basketball
player. He's a
player
below the rim player. Like he doesn't go up and dunk hardly at all. I wonder how many dunks he even has. I can recall a couple.
He got
two-handers
attempting to go for one the other day.
Right. So like, you have to be really, really creative when you're that kind of player, especially in a league that's got a bunch of pretty solid bigs. And he does. Like He's got great footwork. There's stuff off the glass. There is, the hook shots, like the mini hook shots. He's got a lot of stuff in his bag, and that's part of the experience of a 6-year player who has played a lot of college basketball and is has kind of figured it out.
Yeah,
and that's sort of the story with
many of the members of this team.
And it was a thing where it felt like he needed to have a game like that to remind people it's still very much a threat. He's still got this in his bag. I know there'd been a lot of discussion about how he had played in the prior 7 games. I think some of that, obviously, the Illinois game coming off of the dehydration, didn't play against Michigan, and then those games against Oregon and Washington, he barely needed to play.
Yeah,
Like they only played him for a total of 30 minutes.
They were purposefully
Right.
resting him. Yeah.
So, just having him out there against Rutgers and feeding him and letting him go to work, it's just a reminder of what another option that is. And then
Seemed
it happens
purposeful.
in the same day where Frager was just off.
Yeah.
Like, he had a bad game.
And he still hasn't. He still hasn't. I mean, the 3-point shooting. He was 1 of 4 on Saturday.
Right.
So
if that can come back into the fold too,
Yeah.
then Tuesday would be a great night for that.
So what? I did this math last week, but 1 of 7 over 2 games. I'm sorry. Yeah, 1 of 7 over 2 games. 1 of 10 over 3. 3.
He was shooting like 20-some%.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a really, really rough go of it from 3, dating all the way back to the Michigan State game on January 2nd when he hit 6. He hasn't hit more than 2 in a game since then, and that was 2 exactly against Washington. So that part is still he's a better 3-point shooter than the stretch he's in right now.
The thing about it, though, is even his misses, like against Illinois, he had a couple that just rattled out. Like, it's not like he's just completely out there
I thought
throwing
at the
bricks
end-
off the side of the back.
At the end, he started to force some against Illinois, and that was game situation and stuff like that. But yeah, I thought he,
There's a second half. I think he had one where it was kind of the play that they love to run, where someone drives by and then he pops back out for it, and it's on the wing, and it's usually money. And it felt like the ball was partially down and then popped back out, and it just seemed like the lid was on it.
He's a better 3-point shooter than he has been for the last.
It's good. Save
month
him.
or so.
Save him for the games where you need it, and then
Exactly.
have another game like you had against Michigan State.
He is shooting just a little over 32% from 3 this year. I think he could be,
And that's with that
higher
stretch, which tells you how well he was shooting it before.
Right. Exactly. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We have plenty still to come, including more on the Super Bowl last night and plenty more on 1620 The Zone. Stay tuned. At some point, maybe soon in the show, we will give you an opportunity to win tickets to the Omaha Supernovas game on Sunday at the Chai at 5 o'clock as they take on Orlando. So stay tuned, and you will have your chance to win shortly. This weekend, the story in college football, at least for me, I don't know what kind of ripples this makes in the rest of the sport, but around here, it's sort of it's a pretty big deal, and it's far-reaching. North Dakota State, the Bison, are, as of right now, immediately, they are going to the Mountain West, which means they are making the jump from FCS to FBS, and they will join this newfangled Mountain West Football Conference, which has come together after most of its teams departed for the new weird Pac-12. All these zombie conferences, these weird conferences that are thrown together from other conferences. And this is a football only move for North Dakota State, but it was reported on, I think, Friday night and then confirmed, I think, on Saturday. And remember, the Mountain West going into this year will lose Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State, Utah State. Those are all going to the Pac-12. So the Mountain West will be made up of Northern Illinois, who joins this year, UTEP, Air Force, Hawaii, Nevada, New Mexico, San Jose State, UNLV, Wyoming, and now North Dakota State, which is a program that is coming to the metro area and grabbed a lot of pretty good players over the years, and by the way, have won a lot of championships.
Yeah, I mean, they are the class of FCS football. They've been sort of the, off and on dynasty at that level. I've sort of been wondering when something like this would occur for either them or South Dakota State or Montana State, because Mountain West needs teams. And these are quality football teams that I think can compete almost immediately at the level of the Mountain West. Like, does that mean that they can go win the entire conference and go to the college football playoff?
I mean, think about it.
Necessarily.
That conference that I just mentioned right there. I mean, once again, I'll repeat them: Northern Illinois, UTEP, Air Force, Hawaii, Nevada, New Mexico, San Jose State, UNLV, and Wyoming. They can win that conference.
Yeah, well,
they can win that conference next year with a bunch of FCS players.
The teeth out of the conference without having San Diego State, Boise State, Fresno State,
Colorado State,
all very good. Colorado State's probably a tier below those teams in terms of just recent production, but historically, Colorado State has obviously been good as well. Utah State, even.
State's been good.
Have been a good football team.
People do not forget about Jordan Love.
New Mexico had, of the teams that remain, New Mexico had their big year last year. San Jose State's had a big years in the past. Northern Illinois has. They're joining as well. I don't know. Is Northern Illinois joining as a full-fledged member or only football?
I think it's full member.
Yeah, because their travel is going to be a little bit harder for them. Obviously, Hawaii still wins the toughest travel in the conference, but UNLV was good last year.
Northern Illinois will be a football only.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
That makes a lot more sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then, with North Dakota State doing it, the summit stays intact for now, but they have their own issues, Denver leaving, everything else. So we'll see what happens. And then if you're South Dakota State and you're rival, you're the one program that's sort of been able to defeat North Dakota State in all of this.
Are you happy about this? If you are South Dakota State or the Missouri Valley Football Conference, like probably not, right?
No, because you went from being the kind of the brand or the conference in FCS to you lost,
and you probably still are.
Yeah, I mean,
but you lost your lost your cash cow.
Yeah, you might still be, but it got a lot tougher in the sense of like how much money is going to go out the door by losing a North Dakota State. Like some of it is if you stick around at the FCS level and it's like, oh great, we can win more titles or we can do this and that, but you lose some of these big brands that choose to move up, the TV money isn't going to be nearly as good when it comes around.
Well, and the sort of way that I thought about it, after I thought through, I mean, by the way, North Dakota State is going to pay $12 million to the Mountain West to join it, and will pay $5 million to the NCAA for moving I don't know why there's a fee there, but
yeah,
from the FCS to the FBS, whatever.
They got to cover their court costs.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. It's gonna cost them some money. But they're like, after the dust sort of settled on this, I sort of thought like, okay, think about the area of the country that we're in terms of football recruiting and where the money goes and stuff like that. I mean, you could make a case, I guess. We were just talking about a little bit there. South Dakota State, what are they thinking right now? I mean, they battled for recruits for a long time. North Dakota State probably going to win all those battles now, simply because I assume they're going to keep their same model, go after the same type of players. They're still going to be dipping into the metro. I mean, maybe it gives them the ability to open doors to other areas where they just haven't been able to get into before.
Yeah.
But they've always been that program, that one or two programs in the FCS that could reach up and grab an FBS recruit and say, actually, why don't you come be this guy here? And you still get an opportunity to go to the NFL and all those different things. So it changes the landscape quite a lot for those schools, just north of us here.
Yeah, well, and then it puts you, if you're a South Dakota State, then it's like, hey, how close are we to be able to make this happen? And it seems like probably not that close, because financially, I mean, $17 million for those programs to just be able to pay to move up. And you don't know what exactly the money is going to look like in the new look Mountain West, what their TV contracts and all of that is going to be. It's going to be more than you're making now, but it's really like a tough situation. You either you spend yourself into debt moving up a little bit, or you watch the pie shrivel up at your own level because it's not nearly what it used to be, and people aren't going to pay the same amount of money for it.
So I imagine the Mountain West already had a schedule already set.
Yeah,
up.
they have to redo everything.
They're going to have to scrap that.
Yep.
And the
Missouri
Valley Football Conference will have to scrap
Yep.
all that stuff too, which is
A lot of scrapping.
Sort of interesting. And then, there was some talk in this cycle that the coach of the Bison, Tim Polasek, was going to be he was going to be the next one who takes the promotion and moves to a coordinator spot or a head coach spot. Didn't take it. Wonder what he knew several weeks ago as the coaching cycle sort of went on. But of course, their last three coaches.
This has been kind of in the
works
works for a while.
Yeah.
So it's probably not a big surprise in that regard. One of the things that if you're North Dakota State and it's like, okay, you've lost coaches to these other programs, your previous coach before this one left to go be a linebackers coach at USC, which I don't even think he has a job anymore at USC because they moved on from everybody on their defensive staff.
Did he get fired? Yeah,
he might have. I know they just hired. I mean, Eckler's working with linebackers. Maybe he's one of the holdovers, but it is it's a situation where you have a better chance of retaining. And then, like, if you're gonna go being the best team in the FCS versus
he got hired as the head coach at Fresno.
Well, there you go. So
he does have a job.
It worked out well for him. He gets to be in the new look Pac-12.
Matt Entz, that is. Yes.
So it is it's just an opportunity to kind of try to move yourself up, your program up. We know that there's so much money in college football, and it could really help out the totality of that athletic department for North Dakota State. I'm fascinated with Montana State, South Dakota State ultimately do. If you're a South Dakota State, can you move without South Dakota moving as well? South Dakota far less in position to do so.
Right.
And then if your Summit League is in the state of flux, like, I think it's a big secret. UNO probably trying to be more appealing with their center that they're going to build and everything else to try to go to a different league. Like Summit League could be.
I think that is one thing that we've sort of that's crystallized a little bit over the last year. It's there's a lot of schools in that league who are looking elsewhere. Now, to a certain extent, all the schools in the low major conferences are like, hey, look, how do we make ourselves viable, more attractive to be a mid-major school or something like that? But yeah, it's there's a lot of schools in that conference who are looking elsewhere.
And so we'll see what North Dakota State ends up doing, because they are only going to be a football member for the Mountain West, so they're still in the Summit for basketball.
Do you think at all,
and everything else,
before we take a break here, do you think the effects of this touch Nebraska, and how important is it? I mean, think about all the recruits that have gone there and taken spots there over walk-on offers and things like that. And obviously the
I mean, the
landscape
most
around that
notable
has
recently
changed.
would
But
be Cole Payton. I would think that with Dan Jackson at South Dakota State, North Dakota State recruiting Nebraska had dried up a little bit because Dan does such a good job here in this area. From a Nebraska perspective, the way their recruiting model has shifted. I think we're back into it's going to be more notable if you are an in-state guy and you get a Nebraska offer than when they took 11 of them a couple years ago. So I think with the roster limits and everything else, that helps out too. If you're North Dakota State, there's guys that might have walked on that are going to end up at your program or some of those Missouri Valley football programs or anything else.
I imagine their presence will continue to get larger here. I mean, it is this in Minneapolis, and we're talking about metro areas for North Dakota State to be able to recruit in. I mean, that's what you got.
And your Western Minnesota, I mean, they've produced a fair amount of kids too, and so that's another area where North Dakota State could get a lot stronger. In Iowa, they've been recruiting as well, and so it will certainly be fascinating. And the fact it's happening right away, like there's no like, hey,
usually there's like a waiting period.
There's no transition. It's like we're moving straight up, and we're gonna go do it. And
conference realignment is absurd.
It wouldn't be surprising if they go win like 10 games.
I know.
Year.
I think they could win that league.
Yeah. So we'll see how it plays out.
It's going to be a fun conference.
It's a shame that Cole Payton is he's out. I believe he graduated this past year.
I think that's right.
It would have been kind of fun to see him with that opportunity.
He was killing it, as projected by many around here. All right, let's take a break. We will come back with the headlines, but first, we want to give you the opportunity to get into the Supernovas game on Sunday. So give us a call, 402-951-1620 right now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline, and be caller number 3. And you have yourselves a pair of tickets to the Supernovas game on Sunday against Orlando. The game is at 5 at CHI Health Center. Once again, 402-951-1620. You got yourself 2 tickets to Sunday's game for the Supernovas at CHI Health Center. Caller number 3 wins. We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone. There seems to be a debate going on. Is it college basketball season officially, or is it college baseball season officially?
I mean, Noah answered it this morning.
It's up to a matter of personal preference. I would say that it's college. We're about to get into the real meat of college basketball season. One shining moment. They don't have that for baseball, although they should.
Yeah, I don't know that baseball needs one shining moment. I think we could just leave that for college basketball. They can have that. That can be there.
Yeah, but like their own version of one shining moment. They could do like, a different song.
I don't know if everybody needs a song and a montage.
No, you have to have a song and a montage.
I respect.
It has to be Luther Vandross. It has to be. Just have him sing another one.
I think we can just let that be college basketball, and baseball can just have the end of the World Series and give the trophy to the Dodgers owner, and we all move on.
You think you could take AI Luther Vandross and make him do a college baseball one shining moment? He died in 2005.
Undoubtedly, AI could make this happen.
Okay. I mean, AI could do a lot of things, clearly. It could be in every Super Bowl commercial. I looked up, and all they were talking about was AI.
They got the money.
They made Ben Affleck look like he was 23.
Yeah.
They made who else was in there? Tom Brady looked exactly the same.
Yep.
Jennifer Aniston looked
largely
a little
the
younger.
same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Playing off of a Goodwill Hunting joke.
They didn't do anything to Jason Alexander. They made him look the same. AI did not touch Jason Alexander.
Jason Alexander has largely looked the same basically since 1998.
He has, but you could tell
he aged, obviously.
Yeah, he did not get AI very much in that commercial.
They're like, we don't need to do anything with you, sir. You're perfect.
Oh, good one from Mike. He says, "Isn't this town the college baseball one shining moment?" Kind of, but they don't use it anymore. I mean, that was like a exclusively 2000 10 9 college World Series.
Was it? It was still before Rosenblatt had.
Yes, it was
Rosenblatt
it was
still
Rosenblatt.
there.
Yeah,
I was thinking like 2008 to 2012 range in there. 2011.
Yeah, that was just like a one or two.
I can hear that song is playing in my head right now.
It's so good.
Just by you saying this town.
Yeah,
it's just going right now in my head.
I have to listen to that on my way home. All right. Let's get some headlines, Joey. What are we clicking today?
Well, it's been a wild weekend of headlines. One of the headlines, Florida cold snap, creativity leads to iguana pizza and tacos on menu.
Whoa. Iguana pizza and iguana tacos? Are you interested?
I am. And they've been good lately. I've wanted both stories.
I haven't considered. I mean, is it possible that the iguana tasted good? I don't know. I kind of.
Are there reviews, Joey, or is it just a statement about that this is?
It's a statement in how to make these dishes.
Oh,
okay.
Well, yeah, I think we might like it a little too much, Schaefer.
Yeah, we're gonna
click it.
Okay. While cold stun iguanas are falling out trees in Florida, some people are using the opportunity to cook up eclectic dishes. So Bucks Cole fired a pizza joint in North Palm Beach, whipped up an iguana pizza this week, and posted it on Instagram. Frankie, the manager, called it the Everglades Pizza.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's a lot. They love to eat like slimy green things in the Everglades.
So this guy named Ryan, I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name, but he's a local content creator, walked into the shop carrying dead iguanas.
Part of Florida.
He walked into the shop carrying dead iguanas in his arms and told Frankie to make him an iguana pizza now. Frankie's response? Heck no. Spoiler, he made it anyway. So here's how you make an iguana pizza. So to make it, Frankie first rolled out the pizza dough, then he drizzled some olive oil on top, followed by cheese, chunked bacon, venison meat, and topped it off with iguana meat. This is the first
an iguana pizza.
I would not eat an iguana pizza.
You wouldn't even try an iguana pizza? You already eat buffalo chicken pizza.
Yeah, that's good. Buffalo chicken is great.
How do you know that iguana isn't good?
I don't have as much interest in eating iguana as I do chicken.
I would try this over the California Pizza Kitchen.
Did you ever try? Did you ever try?
That's incredible.
Have you ever tried frog legs or anything like that?
I've had gator. I have had.
I was sort of amazed. Like I went to this area of the country and they were like it was
Have I had frog legs? I
frog
feel like I
legs
have.
and all that stuff. And I'm like, I don't think that
I'm,
I
like,
really
willing
want
to
to try it.
try
And I did,
stuff.
and it was good. It was, it was good. They did it well.
I'm like willing to try stuff, but at the same time, iguana feels like it's a bridge too far. I don't know.
So when he tried it, when
Like
the man,
I've had fermented shark
when
when
the-
I was in Iceland.
when the content man
I heard that
tried
was
the
good.
pizza,
It's
his
not great.
first bite was loaded with iguana meat. Quote, that's the tail meat. Very, very good. It really tastes like frog legs. It's a little bit sweet. I would go for this. I mean, why not?
I would try it, I guess. Ultimately, the opportunity to say that I've had iguana would trump the fact that, whether it's disgusting or not.
Bucks has now told everyone that the iguana pizza will now be in a permanent addition to the menu.
So another Florida content creator had a similar idea, and this is where he made the tacos. So this is a guy named Gray Davis said the lizards has the nicknames like chicken on the trees. He found his iguana stunned on the ground and with it over 20 eggs. And then he said by removing this one iguana, we actually saved the environment from over 20 iguanas come spring. And this is what he said in a TikTok video. So he decided to make the tacos to avoid wasting the meat.
You don't have to tell me that you're saving the world by cooking up these iguanas. Like, that's fine. Just cook up the iguanas.
So his
You don't get a medal.
yeah.
So to make his
It's fine.
tacos, Davis boiled a pot of water with onion, garlic, bay leaf, and salt. After it came to a low simmer, he added the iguana meat and boiled it on a low heat for 30 minutes. After that, he added the iguana eggs and let them soft boil. Then he put the iguana eggs, avocado, garlic cloves, lime juice, and olive oil into a blender and made a sauce. The iguana meat was later fried in a pan. Once the tacos were assembled, he topped them with pickled red onions, jalapeno, and cilantro.
Nice.
And that is the Florida Man Taco, Davis said.
That sounds interesting.
I would much rather the pizza than the Florida Man taco.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
The pizza feels like a better vehicle for me to try iguana than the taco does.
Yeah, because the iguana sort of becomes the star of the show on the taco.
Yeah, it was just a lot happening in that taco.
So the whole story with the iguanas, recent freezing temperatures in Florida has caused iguanas to go into a state of torpor.
Yeah. What
where
happens is they get frozen in these trees, and then it slightly unfreezes and they drop.
It's their version of frost crack.
Yeah. It really is. Have you ever seen this event?
Yeah, I've
occur?
seen the photos of people with the trucks of iguanas.
The lizards and the iguanas and all this stuff. They freeze and very easily, and then they plop on the ground. It's hilarious. It's raining iguanas.
They don't like the
not
cold.
for them.
Not for them, but I mean, usually, unless they get poached by a man who's trying to make iguana pizza or tacos, they're fine.
Yeah.
They just have to unfreeze themselves. And it usually happens very shortly because it's not that cold in Florida or Arizona
Generally
very
not.
much. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Joey. That is that. What was the other headline? Give me the other headline.
The
by
other
way.
headline-
We cannot click.
The other headline was police warn unicyclists to stop juggling fire at intersection. Admit act was quite good.
Okay.
Yeah, there's been some good ones.
That's pretty good.
I think the headline largely takes care of the second one, so it's not as
There-
big of a
There's a third one, but I'm going to save it for tomorrow.
Okay. Eat it. All right, we'll come back 8:00 hour. Tim Verghese will join us at about 8:30. We'll talk some Nebraska football with him. We have plenty to talk about still from the Super Bowl and the weekend that was coming up on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. 8 o'clock hour. Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. A bunch of online contests going on right now, 1620thezone.com. Journey, George Thorogood and the Destroyers, and Marshall Tucker Band. The Yachtly Crew in Omaha this summer. That's just added. Tuesday, June 23rd at the Steelhouse. And Chris Stapleton in Lincoln for the All-American Roadshow Tour. You can register to win any of those on our website right now, 1620thezone.com. That is tickets to any of those. They don't give you the concert. They'll give you tickets to the concert, which is better because what would you even do with a concert? I saw a lot of people going to the country concert this weekend. They were at, who was it? Eric Church. And
That was Thursday.
It was Thursday. Okay. The Ella Langley came along. People like her
I heard it was very good.
these days. Yes, I heard it was very good.
Which doesn't surprise me. I think Eric Church would be a good concert. I haven't been to an Eric Church concert. I had to think about that, but no, I have not.
I don't think I've been to an Eric Church concert, but I did meet Eric Church
There's
once.
been a lot of opportunities. He's here in Nebraska. It feels like almost like twice a year.
It does feel like he does downtown
Yeah.
quite a bit. Yeah.
He's
And he'll probably show up at the College World Series.
Have
We
him run
welcome
play-by-play again.
this town.
Maybe he'll do a cover song of OAR's This Town
Oh, that would be fun, actually.
one day.
I would
One
like
day.
that.
All right. Let's first of all, I wanted to give a shout out to you want to hear my Super Bowl conspiracy theory?
Yeah, sure.
Here it is. So Charlie Puth is singing the national anthem yesterday. I think it was a pretty good national anthem,
Yeah.
right? He did a nice job.
I thought like the
Not anything
performances of
special.
which I watched were all good.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
Nothing that I'm gonna like. It's not Marvin Gaye doing the All-Star game in 1980, whatever.
Definitely
Where
not
it's the greatest sound.
super
of-
memorable.
It's
Yeah.
not Whitney Houston after doing the Giants. No, was it Washington and
I don't know.
whoever? I don't remember. Who
It
that
wasn't
was.
Fergie
Washington,
doing the
Buffalo.
national anthem at the NBA All-Star game.
So
It wasn't terrible.
Yeah, it was totally fine.
Okay, so Charlie Puth is doing a nice job. He's behind a keyboard and he's singing along to he's singing to the national anthem. And then at the end, he's about to rip out that last note, and the camera, instead of being sort of front facing at him, pans down and around him, and the sky becomes the signature, the primary subject. And just as he lets out Brave, the final word of the song, jets emerge from a cloud and create one of the coolest flyovers that I've ever seen. I don't know that I will remember it, but it was a very, very good flyover, because what makes a good flyover is timing and basically how cool it sounds and looks.
Noise.
And that nailed it all. So my conspiracy theory is that the NFL created a cloud and perfectly placed it above Levi Stadium so that the planes doing the flyover could emerge from it in a perfect manner like that. And I don't think the NFL is above it. I think it makes perfect sense, much like the electrical substations and all those other things.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how feasible it is to create a cloud and then
Create
get
a
it up
cloud.
in the get it up perfectly in the air. I mean, the ability that the pilots have to time this thing perfectly is always fantastic. You have one job.
Now they have the great fortune of doing a bunch of rehearsals
Oh, yeah.
for events like this, so they know exactly what time it will
Sure.
be. So a lot of times when you see it at football, like college football games, they'll be like, "Why did the flyover happen like halfway through the song?" It's like, well, they were 10 seconds early, and it messed up the entire thing. That will never happen at the Super Bowl because they know exactly what it's going to be.
I don't mind if it's early. I don't mind if it's late. I like when we get flyovers. It's
I
like one of
agree.
those little kid things that I will always enjoy a flyover.
But I especially like when they fly
Come out of the
when
cloud
they
and it
fly out
looks
of the
like it was
clouds.
just made for theatrics.
Well, Andy says that the cloud was from the fireworks, which it looked like an actual cloud to me.
okay.
So
They
there is
did
a case
very create
that the NFL did actually create the cloud.
Now, did they have it set up so it'd be perfectly timed for all of that?
Well,
did they
they-
know that they were going to have this beautiful cloud to fly out of?
It was perfect.
They always do the fireworks on the Rocket's Red Glare part
Which makes
of the
sense.
song.
Bombs do burst in air.
Mhm. And they gave a bunch of proof through the night that the flag was still there.
Yeah.
All those things.
Another
Thank
reason.
you, Francis Scott Key.
Way to go. Nice job.
Another reason why outdoor stadiums are the best and dome stadiums are stupid.
Well, next year for the Super Bowl, we're going to SoFi. It'll be very,
Boo.
very corporate.
Do you think
Not that it isn't already.
the national anthem is the song that people will have listened to the most in their life? Is that possible?
No, because
Like,
I don't.
for some people, if you attend enough sporting events, you hear it, all of those times. Like
Yeah.
you're at every women's basketball game for Nebraska and Creighton basketball. Like you probably hear the national anthem. What?
It is definitely the song that I have seen performed live the most.
You think?
But heard most? No, I don't think so, because I don't listen to the national anthem more than once a day. Well, unless there's 2 games, which there was on Saturday.
But I'm saying, like, you probably hear the national anthem 70 to 80 times a year.
Yeah, let's just
And
say
then you're
100.
doing baseball. Are you listening to anything more than that? Like any individual song? Do you think you're getting more in a year?
Yeah, because the way I listen to music, and
You just have a song on repeat?
this gets into my personality a little bit, but like,
Fixate?
when I find out about a new song, I will run it into the ground in my head. And I think, I think it's probably, if I find one of those songs just at the right time of the year, like in January or something like that, I will have listened to it 100 times.
I really want an end of the year wrapped for you that just has the national anthem.
This is what I want. This is what I mean.
That's what I was just thinking.
I want a
Spotify rap.
I want a running
National
log
anthem.
of things that I've said and done and places that I've been, because I can't remember half the things. And
you need a statistical portal that's all about you.
I've been asking for this for a long time, and obviously I'm never gonna get it.
Well, most of it is you inputting the information.
Yeah, I would have to input, but I would have had to input it from birth.
Yeah, that's the problem. You got started too late.
Who wouldn't want to know how many sandwiches they've eaten in their life, or how many?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I would want to know how many pounds of meat.
Meat man.
How many times have I gone to the bathroom?
Beef man, excuse me.
And you could average it out on a per day basis. You could find out a lot about yourself.
You just love to have your statistical analysis breakdown.
I would love to have it.
Yeah,
I would absolutely.
I think there's a real chance that you hear the national anthem more than any other song. Just when you factor in all the stuff that you do
in my life, or
maybe not in your life, but certainly in the last year, it's got to be up to like,
let's just say 100. I go to 100 sporting
more
events.
than that.
I think that's about right. Probably. Yeah. I actually did this, my log of all the games that I was at a couple of years ago, and it was in that range already, and now I don't go to more. So in the neighborhood of 100.
Point being, I would love to have that information just to see how many times you
well,
the national anthem.
We do have a song that's going to be contending for most listened to for Connor Happer.
It's Happer and Schaefer. Is it that one?
Yeah.
We got an email over the weekend from John, who is basically like, screw you guys. You messed me up. Dear John, the Equitable Bank inbox. This is Saturday at 1:15 in the afternoon. You absolute monsters. I'm in my kitchen putting the dishes away, and your earworm is in my head. It won't go away. I hope I don't end up on the 6 o'clock news.
Yeah. It's incredible. It's just absolutely incredible.
Nice job, Joey. Also John follows up. He says the NFL created a cloud. Connor, where do you believe Tupac is currently living? Not Italy, like some people.
In the crowd? Or in the crowd? In the cloud?
I believe that he has passed.
Okay.
I believe that he has left us.
Well, are there like conspiracy theories that you actually believe?
Not very many. No.
I'm not a conspiracy
I'm not
theorist.
either. I'm not either.
Like, there's really nothing.
And this isn't really a conspiracy theory. I just wanted to talk about how cool the flyover was.
Yeah.
That's mostly what this is for. But as you mentioned before, this is, about information that we would have liked to know. So I thought we would review our prop bets that we gave out on Friday.
Oh boy.
We need
Didn't go well for me.
Well, we need to be transparent, and we need you all to understand, how we do with these things. So we were each tasked with putting out about 3 prop bets for consumption on Friday. I don't think any of us actually wagered on the game. Wait, Joey, did you?
No, I
didn't either, but I don't know why I didn't. But I just didn't get around to it this year. So here are the props that Joey gave out. Kenneth Walker, anytime touchdown, minus 190, somehow did not hit. There was a holding.
I'm mad.
Somehow did not hit, even though he won MVP of the game. He did not score a touchdown. Cooper Kupp, 30-yard reception, did not hit. He had a 23-yard catch.
7 yards shy, and that was in the first quarter.
Drake May, over interceptions. Okay, that hit. I colored that red. He threw 2 interceptions. So nice job, Joey, on that one. And Joey also had octopus appearance. Yes, plus 1,400. There was one go for 2 attempt.
It was the Patriots at the very end.
Yeah, and it was but who scored the touchdown?
Was that the Ramadre
Was it the Mac
touchdown?
Hollinson?
It was a Ramadre touchdown. No, the Mac Hollins that kicked the extra point.
Why did they do
Vrabel,
that? Yeah.
Mike Vrabel,
Why
who
did he do
spent
that?
so much time talking about what a great coach and he's so smart and all of these things. And it's 19-0.
I was doing the math in my head anyway. And like, you
three
can
scores,
get to it.
2 touchdowns, 2 extra points, 2 extra 2-point conversions, and then you kick a field goal. That's it. You look. This is hard math.
16 plus 3, 19.
I will never understand coaches that are bad at this. And someone that I thought was a tremendous coach in all of these aspects just runs out the extra point unit, and you're down 19-7.
Like, to be fair, it's probably the last thing you're thinking of. But
probably meaningless.
I was thinking about it when I was like, you got to go for 2 here. You got to get 8.
I feel like you need to know as you start every drive what you're going to do if you score.
Yeah.
Like, are you going for 2? Because that tells you, what part of the game you're in and what you need to do for everything that comes after. And so when he did that, it was dumb. So no, he scored. The 2-point conversion came on the Ramadre touchdown, which I watched that replay like as closely as possible, just wondering if there was a little piece of
because
turf.
it happened to Kupp earlier in the game.
Yeah, it's just nuts. There was a couple catches. Also, that was not a catch for Cooper.
No, it wasn't.
On the first drive where he readjusts the ball while going out of bounds, and they ran a quick play, and like Vrabel should have been on that too.
Yeah.
That was surprising.
So
not a great game for Vrabel.
No octopus. Schaefer he was waiting for this, and I thought he was going to get it. I really thought
several times.
It seemed set up.
We were set up perfectly. It was set up absolutely perfectly.
But then they didn't really need to do any razzle dazzle, so it kind of
so let me make an argument for it. So the bet was this: Cooper Kupp specifically to complete a pass.
Yeah,
plus 1,200. They ran several reverses in the game, and by the time you were up, and you don't need to do any razzle dazzle, but I was waiting for them to do the kill shot. And that would have been obviously you're playing with fire a little bit, but your defense is so good. They weren't scoring. There wasn't a whole lot of harm. There wouldn't have been a whole lot of potential disaster in letting Cooper Kupp throw one dumb pass.
I thought
Mike Schaefer still did not get it.
We might get the double pass where you throw it out to the left on what looks like it should be a screen, but then he actually then chucks it, to a receiver that streaks out or back to the quarterback who runs off the side. So we didn't get it. Disappointing, but we'll be back at it next year.
Jackson Smith and Jigba anytime touchdown.
Shocking.
Should have had it in the first quarter.
Had the opportunity, and Darnold threw that ball inside. If he throws it out in front of him, that's a touchdown for sure.
Way to go, Darnold. Ruined it again.
Yeah.
And shortest touchdown under.
Never even an opportunity.
No
tush
pushes.
6 yards. Stevenson.
The number was 1.5.
Doesn't help when there's only 4 touchdowns in the game, and one of them was defensive. 2 were over 17 yards, and then the other one was 6. So.
Yep. So that was an offer for you, partner. And for myself, I had a Kayshawn Booty anytime touchdown.
They threw him the ball, and he was in the big weird Hail Mary attempt that was in the early fourth quarter when Drake May just went garbage.
I was still really mad that Hollins got the touchdown and somebody else, literally anybody else didn't.
What was the message of his?
I don't know.
He's worn some bizarre ones that took the kid, and I didn't know if it was an Alcatraz thing.
He was a prisoner of Mike Vrabel's high school. I don't know.
It's very. I thought it was some kind of Prison Break or Alcatraz reference, but I never figured out what it
could have been an Alcatraz reference. But he was holding Vrabel's high school jersey as he had handcuffed himself, trying to look like a prisoner dressed up to walk into the Super Bowl.
It was
What
very
is what in
confusing.
the hell is going on?
Mac Hollins very confusing.
So I did not bet on Mac Hollins, which that would have hit. Keyshawn Booty did not. First half tie. I liked where we were trending for a while, and then I realized
you would have needed a team to score.
and then I realized the Patriots weren't going to be able to get any points, so that did not hit.
Instead, we got 9 at halftime.
And which leads to my one green bet. First half under very comfortably hit.
Did the game finish under at 42 points or whatever it was?
Yeah, so the 43, yeah, I think the total was 45 and a half, I believe.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, 29-13
We went
was
under.
the final.
We went under. And then I had Sam Darnold to throw 2 or more interceptions. He could have. He was playing with fire. I thought he should have thrown like 2 in the first half alone.
The only one that
At least.
really was an interceptable one was the one to Gonzalez. Like it was to Jackson Smith-Njigba, but
There was a couple too that got popped up into the air.
There was the one where I think it was JSN just kind of like it went off of his hand straight up. But
there was the one
otherwise,
where the lineman batted it down, and those could have gone anywhere. Like
fair.
I don't know. Like I felt
I
like
thought you were talking about initially because I thought those were actually just really well thrown balls by him
oh, you're talking about
on the very first drive where they're clearly like overplaying it, trying to get that interception, thinking it's going to be somewhere, and he's putting it perfectly where they couldn't get it.
And so I did not hit that. And then here's the worst beat of the night. If anybody was on this, I'm sorry. Sam Darnold.
Yeah, tough.
Over 5.5 rushing yards. At one point, he had what? 11, 12?
It was 12.
12-yard run. And we're like, all right, cool. I got a text from Mike Schaefer. Nice job.
Immediately.
Great bet by you. And then he just decided to run around and lose yards on a non-sack play.
Yeah, it's very weird.
And of course, just so happens to end up at exactly 5 yards.
Horse crap call.
5 yards where you needed but a half yard more. So that was sort of BS, but that's the way it goes.
That is the way it goes with prop bets.
Also, I wish as the game unfolded, I could have profited in some way off of the Patriots left tackle getting absolutely manhandled all night. That was one of the saddest things.
It was bad by a rookie.
I mean, there was a moment
He
where
was in hell.
He flinched, so it was called a false start, but they like had still snapped the ball and hadn't been blown dead yet. And the Seattle defender just hits him with a 1-2 in the chest that just completely put him on the ground on a play that hadn't happened. So he gets up, they lose their 5 yards. He gets up on the next snap, gets absolutely bull rushed again. May's able to get the pass off. So
they could have done anything with him. I mean, it started because I guess the book on him, Collinsworth was talking about it. Like the book on him was that if you bull rush him, he's in trouble.
You go through him. You don't have to. You go around him, he can fence you. If you try to go inside, he's pretty good. But if you have the strength to go through him, that's what teams have been doing.
He's a pretty light guy.
Yeah.
And as I think Severe said it on Twitter, he's got short arms, so he can't reach you, whatever. And so that was the deal at first. They're like, all right, cool, I'll just bull rush you. And then they were just putting him in a blender from there because he thought he was going to get bull rushed, and then he wouldn't. Then they go outside and they go inside. There was one where
great job from the defensive side of it.
The Patriots sort of adjusted because they knew he was getting his ass kicked, and the I think it was Owosu on that. Maybe it was the other one on that side who very easily could have had a sack if he went around and outside, but didn't because he knew May was going to step up in the pocket and then held his ground and nearly sacked him anyway. I mean, that was a nightmare for them.
Well, and then Devin Witherspoon, who we remember is just a tremendous player for Illinois when it was Ryan Walters was their defensive coordinator. He had
was blitzing.
Tremendous game blitzing. Like, I mean, just perfectly timed cornerback blitzes. The hit on Drake May that caused the interception. You call that an interception, I guess?
It was. Yeah, it was.
I couldn't tell if he got hit in such a way that it could be deemed a fumble, but it was given an interception return for a touchdown.
Since it was caught, it's an interception. Right?
Again, like the way that impact of the hit happened and like the way he got hit and he kind of goes up. It's like, I didn't know if they were saying the ball got popped out of his hands or what. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They return it for a touchdown, but the timing on that was so good. He's lined up over his receiver, and then he sees May check off to the left. He starts his break right as the snap is going. Just perfectly timed, just absolutely leveled Drake May.
So for Drake May, these stats were from True Media last night, which you have to pay like $1 million to be a part of, but some people's companies have it. Worst playoff runs for quarterbacks who started at least 3 games at a single postseason since 2000. Number 1, Drake May.
I mean, it wasn't good.
He had the worst 3-game play. Now, you have to get to the Super Bowl in order to do that.
Well, 3 games, you could get to the championship game.
But then, when did the
last 5 years or whatever,
right
when they started
before that, you don't it didn't have to be that way. And a lot of these in fact, almost all of these quarterbacks on the list, with the exception of 2021 Burrow, who ended up on the list.
They went to the Super Bowl,
which I know.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. He was the only other one on the list that happened after the playoffs have changed.
Gotcha.
Peyton Manning, corpse of Peyton Manning, is on this list at number 2. In 2015, Rex Grossman, Joe Flacco, Jared Goff, Kerry Collins, Trent Dilfer, 01 Brady, Garoppolo, and Rich Gannon. These are, in essence, the worst quarterback Super Bowl quarterbacks that we've had since 2000. I mean, that's basically
a lot of
even
ones
though
in
the
there.
statistical sort of outline was worst 3-game run and all that stuff, but that basically what the list ends up being. And then as far as the worst games are concerned, Drake May, according to the total EPA, or in Super Bowl quarterbacks since in that time frame, had the 3rd worst quarterback game in a Super Bowl since 2000, only behind Kerry Collins and Rich Gannon.
Yeah. I mean, those were 2 games in which the defense absolutely dominated them. So 3, you include May in that regard.
It is bad. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Tim Verghese will join us. We'll get caught up on the Huskers coming up on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. Just past 8:30 here in Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. We're joined now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline by our good friend Tim Verghese from inside Nebraska. Tim, hello. How are you?
Hey, how are you doing, guys? Good morning.
How'd you enjoy the Super Bowl last night?
No, I enjoyed it. I mean, I would say, like, obviously, I think the game, I think, got out of hand there for a bit there for the Patriots. But I mean, I especially that first quarter kind of expected it to be a 4-quarter chess match. We got away from that, of course, but I really enjoyed. I mean the defensive battle. I think for me the thing that stuck out as we were watching that was just. And I wonder what the lesson is ultimately from this, but just the amount of like young guys on both sides making plays on the biggest stage that were so critical to both teams' runs. I just to me, it's an interesting lesson on just where the sport's headed, and again, just the value of youth and getting the draft right, and getting as many of those shots and cheap contracts under your belt as you can.
I always really enjoy your, like, whenever somebody does something in an NFL game or especially in a game like that, it's like, let's take a look back at some of the takes on this person as a recruit. And last night, I mean, Christian Gonzalez was everywhere. I saw your Christian Gonzalez tweet last night. I'm like, yeah, well, Tim had that one nailed all the way. I mean, there's so many examples. It's amazing. I just wanted to give you kudos for it because you know where all these guys are from and where they went to high school and all that stuff. And that was a big feature of the broadcast last night. So well done.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
No, that's all I got.
Well, while we're giving Tim props, let's also bring Michael Dixon into this, who I had awarded Man of the Weekend with his outstanding punting. Tim was referring to a legendary appearance that Michael Dixon had in the Texas Bowl at one point in time.
Incredible.
Would you like to share more about your familiarity with the Seahawks punt?
Yeah, so the first college game I ever covered, like when I was a senior in high school, for the company I was interning for at the time, I got the opportunity. I was in Houston, obviously, that's where I'm from. I was in Houston. It was the Texas Bulls played right there in NRG. So I covered that game. It was the Drew Lock versus Tom Herman Texas Bowl. And yeah, towards the, I think you guys know how it works, like middle of the fourth quarter. So they're like, it's time to vote for MVP. And I just kind of audibly to the people around me was like, is Michael Dixon the MVP of this? And then like you could see the buzz start to pick up across the press box because I said it a little louder than it probably should have. And by the time the votes were tallied, Michael Dixon was the MVP of the Texas Bowl.
Did you create this?
Tim?
This is the thought that you made Michael Dixon the MVP of the Texas Bowl?
I don't know. I don't know if I deserve that credit, but like
I would say Michael Dixon deserved the bulk of the credit. But then I wanted to make sure that Tim gets at least a share.
At least a share.
At least a share, as we say around here.
Nice job. Another well done by you. Wanted to ask you about this. Is a topic we talked about earlier. The big news in college football over the weekend was that North Dakota State is going to move over to the Mountain West. I mean, you could look at it from a Nebraska angle, obviously a regional recruiting angle. I think there's sort of a lot there that we probably don't know about for, as you look out cycles in advance. But what are your first couple sort of thoughts about how this touches the local sort of recruiting landscape with North Dakota State moving up?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be I'm just very curious to see, especially now as we dive into this 27 cycle and beyond. Obviously, I think, the turnaround is going to be a little quick here for 27, but moving forward, I'm really interested to see kind of what recruitments they find themselves in. I mean, the Dakotas produce talent, as we know, but like beyond that, I mean, I had a discussion with someone over the weekend of, if you're like a recruit right now and you get an offer from Iowa State and North Dakota State, like it's a discussion, at least for me, of like, okay, which one, like, and I mean, and if I'm having that discussion, I don't think I'm picking Iowa State. And like, you can even make the argument too, from a resource standpoint, like North Dakota State might be better positioned than, some regional programs in the Big 12 that they'll be competing with on the recruiting trail. So I am very interested to see what recruitments they find themselves in and kind of some like what they're capable of now that they're up here at this level. That said, I mean, I just because of the conference, because of where they're at, like because of location and certain things, are they necessarily a threat to Nebraska? Not from necessarily top targets, I would say, but in the same way that, you know, Nebraska finds themselves like, you know, in battles with Iowa State. And, you know, I mean, like you lost just last week, you lost Tanner Bible to James Madison, like things like that. I could see them losing where it's like, okay, you lose a depth piece you were maybe hoping to stash and develop or keep under the radar that, you know, is now headed to North Dakota State. That's where I think they kind of work into in terms of how it affects Nebraska's recruiting efforts. But more than anything, I think this is good for, the players in the state, the players in this region, because this is another opportunity to go play high-level college football.
Talking with Tim Verghese of Inside Nebraska. He's got a list of 10 targets that are emerging in the 2027 class. I was looking at this. Obviously, you don't have to go through all 10. Who sort of stands out, and why is it Gus Corsair?
Yeah, that's one where you're familiar, Schaefer, but like that's one where it's been a little head scratching as to why Nebraska wasn't slow in the mix, and it was very slow to join, and now they're in it. Now that kind of Jeep Wade's taken over, and they're working fast here. I mean, he's a regional target, but this is going to be the thing. Nebraska being slow here has allowed programs like Oklahoma and Missouri, Minnesota, Kansas State to kind of gain something of an upper hand. Oklahoma in particular, I mean, anytime Bill Bedenbaugh sees you as a priority, it's going to be tough to beat out Oklahoma, especially for a regional target. So Oklahoma is going to be the one where I think Nebraska has the most ground to make up. Like, that's the program Nebraska has the most ground to make up on. But, talking with him and exchanging some texts with him last week, really excited about the Nebraska offer because he's been here before. He's camped. I think he's even camped in Nebraska. So plenty familiar with the program, plenty familiar with guys on staff. But I think it was really encouraging for him that Nebraska not only offered, but Jeep Wade stopped through Hayes late in the month to pay him a visit to get familiar. They're building that relationship, and so I think over time they're going to be a contender. And if he pushes this into like official visit season, I'm expecting Nebraska now be on that short list of teams pushing for that OD.
Tim, I wanted to ask, so this is a little off the beaten path because I don't know that we've talked about him in a week or two now. But the biggest target, I think, for 27, and I'm sure you would agree, is Ahmad Hudson. How big is the it's something I've always been curious with about him. How big is the basketball part for him to get recruited, to want to play basketball at the next level? Like, is there any more knowledge on that front, or is he just sort of playing it out and seeing where it goes?
Yeah, so if you ask him about it, it's genuinely becoming something where it's almost 50-50 at this point. Like he really cares about the basketball side of things. And, why Nebraska kind of has an edge is because of the effort and the play of the basketball team. Like he's liked what he's seen. The biggest thing with him and on the basketball side of things is, he's 6'7", nearing 6'8", I think, in Ruston, Louisiana, has to play center, has to be like a big, and doesn't want to be that, like long term, like at the next level, wants an opportunity to showcase what he can do in space, showcase some of his shooting and kind of just his ability to ISO and win. He's loved watching Nebraska's offense, the way they distribute the ball, the way they kind of, they play, somewhat positionless. He likes their style of play. He's in frequent contact with both the football and the basketball staff. Ultimately, I think it's something where, I think it's an ongoing conversation with all these different programs of how it's actually going to work, playing both sports and what that would look like. But he is fully in the pursuit of like, look, I want to do both, and I want to do both across multiple seasons. So like he's fully anticipating playing both sports for multiple seasons at whatever program he ends up. And so like that's a big thing here. And I mentioned it somewhere, like, or I mentioned it a couple weeks ago coming out of the All-American Bowl, something I think people forget, like LSU offered very early on they were the first offer on the football side of things. And they had a basketball offer out at one point, but he's still waiting on the formal, like official, like committable LSU basketball offer. And it's kind of this thing where there's a feeling of inevitability, like it will come. But with what he's put up on the court, where he's at, I just think there's a risk here of LSU, without maybe even realizing it becoming almost rude or disrespectful that LSU has not delivered that basketball offer just yet.
Interesting.
So, I'm interested to see how that plays out. I mean, like that, but I think the biggest thing is going to be the biggest thing with him is going to be ultimately how he evolves as a just that, like from a growth standpoint, because that's going to, I think, decide like his, because for him, I mean, he loses weight for basketball season, and then but he's bulking up for football. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of a push and pull for him that he's kind of working through. So that, I think, is going to ultimately, I think, as his college career plays out, I think is going to impact, like, okay, what does he ultimately pick? I think regardless, I mean, all these programs, Nebraska included, are taking the talent regardless of where he ends up.
Nebraska lost Tanner Vibabule, I don't know, the day after signing day. I guess he officially signed with James Madison. Can you walk us through sort of what happened there and why it's not an insignificant thing for Nebraska, even if he was just likely to be a development flyer, if you would, at the position?
Yeah, so Nebraska wants, they have 4 right now in the room. They want 5. They sought out a 5th quarterback for, they have limited space, and they still, and they had needs, and you saw them, coming out of December. They prioritized kind of finding that quarterback and obviously identified him and felt like they had a guy. And yeah, Tanner was not, a guy that was going to contribute, maybe like see the field, maybe ever at Nebraska, in all honesty. But in terms of the skill set, in terms of development and what he could do, he had a high enough floor where the staff kind of saw him as a live like scout team arm, and they kind of wanted that. Like having 5 quarterbacks kind of gives you that flexibility to get a quarterback live on scout team, to take the green jersey off, and because you're not running, that guy can kind of get hit, and you don't really have to worry about it just in terms of like keeping him safe in case of emergency. There was never going to be that, and so they wanted a guy that could do that. Tanner was one of those that was developmental and was kind of the perfect fit for that, where like you don't have to allocate a whole lot of money, if any money whatsoever, for him. And he's coming in, he's developing, he's happy to be just kind of sitting and developing behind the scenes, and but then he got an opportunity to get paid, to kind of have get a rev share deal, work up and have a better opportunity, to kind of maybe see the field, if not this year, down the line, and work under a coaching staff that works with dual threat quarterbacks as well. So I think for him, if again, in a vacuum, I think you pick, if you're in his shoes, you make the decision to go to James Madison every single time, in my opinion. It's a better opportunity on the field. It's a better opportunity financially. And again, like I think on the flip side of things, you can make the argument, you come to Nebraska, you get the opportunity to develop at a Power 4 university, and then you go and move on somewhere else. It matters more than anything if you want to transfer, if you want to move on. And I think for him, the opportunity and the chance of him ever playing in Nebraska was so slim. It just didn't really make a whole lot of sense. And so it stings for Nebraska to come out of that, because they wanted that 5th arm. They wanted that live camp arm. It's something that, or live scout arm. It's something that, for them kind of changes the way you're able to practice and kind of the way you're able to prepare for certain opponents. And so that's a little unfortunate. I'm interested to see kind of how over the next few weeks. I know there's a few quarterbacks out there, but if you kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel, has some kind of flaw you're working through, you're going to have to develop them. Again, no one at this point, if you're adding them, is expected to be a contributor in any sort of way in 2026. But if Nebraska does want that 5th arm, there are some options out there. I'm curious just how seriously they pursue those.
Yeah, interesting. Tim Verghese from Inside Nebraska. All right, Tim, hopefully you enjoyed your weekend and enjoy the rest of your week. Thanks for doing this as always. See you later.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.
Tim Verghese from Inside Nebraska. You check out the latest there, including the list that Schaefer mentioned of some targets going up. Always something going on in Cruton. Let's take a break. We'll come back, round out the hour. Don't forget, we'll still be joined by Michael Bruns at 9:15. Back after this on 1620 The Zone. But first, a word from Underdog Fantasy. Yes, we are all maybe a little bit sad that football is over, but however, fast breaks, buzzer beaters, block parties, they're back, and Underdog is the best place to get in on the action. You can make picks and win money right now in Nebraska. It's very easy. Pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stat categories, points, rebounds, steals, and more. Even a combo of those. We'll tell you about that in a second. Get those picks right. You can win up to 5,000 times your cash. So I'm looking right now. How about this? There is a Hornets Pistons game tonight. Ryan Kalkbrenner plays for the Hornets. How about 10.5 points plus rebounds plus assists higher for Ryan Kalkbrenner? Or you could just do 5.5 points higher than 5.5 points. So check that out. One of the many things you could find on the Underdog app. And download today. Use promo code HAPPER1620 to score $75 in bonus entries when you make your first when you play your first $5. That's promo code HAPPER1620. Underdog, make picks, win money. Must be 19 plus and present in Nebraska. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncpgambling.org. All right, Rob Manfred hates baseball. Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball, that's right, hates it. There was a story yesterday there where people had figured out that in order to get MLB TV this year, you had to also have a ESPN Unlimited, which is the artist formerly known as ESPN, right? Their standalone DTC app.
It's super confusing because
It's very
ESPN
confusing.
Plus isn't always ESPN Unlimited, but ESPN Unlimited contains ESPN Plus.
That is correct.
So it's just like
ESPN Unlimited, from my understanding, is their direct-to-consumer channel, which would include all of ESPN, ESPN2, all the linear channels.
is nonsensical to
ESPN
have
Plus.
if you're getting it in any other variety.
Correct. It's for people who are just
Right.
cord cutters.
So it's just a
yeah.
dumb. The way the whole thing is set up is needlessly confusing and stupid.
Agreed. And then, like I said, it was basically found that in the fine print here, and with all the MLB rights reshuffling, that you would have to have a subscription to both MLB TV, which is pretty expensive, and this ESPN Unlimited thing with all, like I said, with their rights change, and that it was going to be behind a double paywall, which gave many people the opportunity to say, what in the hell is this? When I saw this, Schaefer, I thought, this cannot be right. There's no way that baseball would do this. And then I thought, wait a minute. It's baseball. They might do this. And so I thought, well, I don't know. We'll wait and see if there's anything else. And sure enough, the MLB came through and they sort of clarified that if you have renewal for the MLB TV plan, you don't need the ESPN Unlimited subscription this season. However, I believe if you are a new MLB TV customer, which there are going to be a lot of them around here,
they own those
because you
rights,
could get the games locally, the Royals game specifically, then you will have to get the ESPN Unlimited. Now, this was from Drew Lerner yesterday, who works at Awful Announcing, who sort of like came out with this yesterday. He said a league source told Awful Announcing that existing MLB TV subscribers who are set up for auto renewal won't need an ESPN Unlimited subscription. Requirement applies to new subscribers only. Source mentions ESPN Unlimited subs will get a discount for MLB TV. So if you have ESPN Unlimited already, which I don't know anyone that does, to be honest with you, because most people just have YouTube TV or Hulu or whatever, then you get a discount for MLB TV. The general point is this is absurd. It's a little palatable if you have the renewal thing.
Yeah, well, if you have the renewal, you're unaffected largely.
Right. Yes.
And which is where I come in at. But what I don't understand is that I have never understood why MLB, which wanted all of these broadcast rights to begin with, then decided to sell them to ESPN. It doesn't make sense to me.
It's part of like another thing. I don't know. Yeah, their rights are all over the place.
So it doesn't like, right. They have rights to Peacock. They have rights to Apple.
Correct.
They have rights to TBS. They have rights to ESPN, which they ended that relationship for Sunday Night Baseball and were unhappy with it.
But there's like a much smaller package.
Yeah, and then you turn around, you sell the regional rights to these teams, which whatever. I mean, once it's out of their hands, they can't dictate the terms on it the way that ESPN can. It all comes back to we clamored to get rid of cable and cord cutting and cost saving measures and all of these things. And if you're having to pay for ESPN Unlimited when you're already getting ESPN through whatever means you're getting it from,
you get the channel
just so you can watch something that was previously just an add-on. None of this you're effectively paying for something 3 times.
Correct.
To get one thing.
And I saw another story this weekend. This is not MLB related, although it's sports related. So I guess YouTube TV is going to come out with like a sports only subscription, which I'm sure there's some way that it's messed. But the price is only like $15 less than a base plan, a YouTube TV base plan, which you don't get a lot of the sports channels with the YouTube TV base plan. You have to get the extra stuff. which, by the way, YouTube TV now costs like way too much. Most people went to YouTube TV because they're like, oh my God, I could just get cable for $50.
Yeah.
This is an awesome deal for me. And now it's just as much as cable. So the whole thing is just screwed up all the way across the board.
Everything costs money, and every entity treats its customers like
Yes.
rubes that they can just get money off of.
Including ESPN, who
Oh,
really
they definitely do.
I think
Yeah,
is the most
ESPN
to
is a-
blame about all of this in the MLB part of it, because they figured out this thing where they have to make people get the ESPN Unlimited app, which once again nobody has. I'm sure they're dying for subscriptions on that thing, and they're like, well, how about we could just take advantage of these poor baseball fans who have been jerked around for a decade now about where their teams are going to be playing.
When ESPN Unlimited is expensive too.
Yeah.
It's like not like you're saving any money by doing it.
Well, and then there was the whole idea of like the Fox ESPN like stream merger. Do you
Yep.
remember when that was? I think that got nixed. That's out the window at this point. I mean, it's just so stupid.
It is all very dumb. It all seems unnecessary. It all basically affects the consumer, and nobody really cares.
Kenneth writes in on YouTube. Thank you, Kenneth. The only sports media subscription I need is 1620 The Zone TV, baby. Free for now.
The best price.
You never know, but free for now. Soon enough, we'll have a whole network of channels and things like that. And then you'll have to get 1620 The Zone TV.
Oh, wow.
And then we're just cable. 1620 cable. 1620 the cable.
So what are you gonna do? Because you'll be a new MLB TV subscriber.
I'm not. I had it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then that helps you out.
Yeah, we're
I wonder
fine.
what it does for the people that get it for like AT&T. Like, will that still?
Oh, yeah, the
be-
T-Mobile.
Oh yeah, T-Mobile.
Ask John Bishop.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of angry people.
Definitely. People are going to figure out on opening day, like, oh, this is not normal. I can't just turn on a channel and watch
Right.
my team anymore. This is messed up. All right, let's take a break. 9 o'clock hour is coming up. We'll talk about the weekend in college basketball. And Michael Bruns is still coming on 1620 The Zone. All right, so did we get to the question that everybody's wondering about? Worst Super Bowl since? I mean, I assume that'll be the question on all the sports talk shows today. Worst Super Bowl since
last year?
I actually think last year
I think Patriots and Rams.
We are
2018.
now on a 2-year run of pretty bad Super Bowls.
This
like
kind of gets
before-
overplayed because last year stunk.
I
Like, the
agree.
game was terrible.
I agree.
But it was great to see the Chiefs lose.
Well, yeah,
Let's not forget the whole.
it was great seeing the whole Patriots
Whoa, are you
lose. I get that.
disrespecting the Chiefs?
No one wanted to see them three-peat, except for a lot of fans
I didn't care.
in this
That-
part of the country.
That Super Bowl last year was more of a big meteor Super Bowl than this year's was.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I didn't care about that game last year.
That was very much like, I will be at a party and I am not paying attention to this game.
Uh-huh.
And then it was terrible on top of it. So
Uh-huh.
it made me pay even less attention.
And then we had overtime the year before that. And then we had the good Chiefs-Eagles game.
Yep.
And then the Rams-Bengals one was good. And then the horrible Bucks-Chiefs.
Yeah, and you could
I guess
argue
that
that
one's
one,
really
which
bad.
I love just because I had the Bucks. Like, I cleaned up in that one.
So the reason this one won't be as bad as the 13-3 Patriots-Rams game is because the score doesn't look that bad.
No.
It could have been 15-0, and then we would have been talking about it all day today.
Yeah.
Total of 30 points in the fourth quarter.
But we got points in the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter saved us from having that disastrous conversation today. So good job.
It's the biggest loss for the Patriots in the Super Bowl since they lost to the Packers in 96.
Whoa.
97.
Um,
Because otherwise
Well,
their
they-
losses
yeah,
have
they-
just been one-score losses to the Giants and Eagles.
Yeah, that's true. 35-21. I was thinking of the Bears Patriots in 85. 'Cause that was atrocious.
Yeah, that's their biggest loss.
But yeah, it was a competitive ball game between both teams. It was real competitive, just not a lot of action in the fourth quarter from what
they lost
Sense.
by 14 to the Packers
Yep.
in 97.
Desmond Howard won Super Bowl MVP.
And
Special teams.
they lost by $1 billion to the
Yep.
Bears in 85. Yeah. So
the
second worst.
fabled Bears team.
The fabled 85 Bears, 46-10. Ouch. Joey, do you know it actually says the referee. I don't think you know 1985 referees.
No, I don't
do
know
you?
the referees in 85.
Red Cashian. He was the MVP he was the referee of that game. Last night we had Sean Smith, who was good.
Yeah, they
rank these refs,
There
Joey.
wasn't even like a flag until the 5-minute mark of the second
Yeah,
quarter.
yeah.
and it was a
wonderful.
false
the
start.
flinch, yeah. So rank these last 4 Super Bowl head officials: Carl Cheffers, Bill Vinovich, Ron Torbert, Sean Smith.
Sean Smith number 1, Bill Vinovich 2.
Torbert and Cheffers is who you got left.
Yeah, Torbert and Sheffers.
You-
Sheffers is horrible.
You're out on Cheffers.
I think Sheffers did the Chiefs Eagles first Super Bowl, and that was when that
Wow.
pass interference call happened that led to the Chiefs game-winning field goal, and then Torbert did the next year.
Look at that. Unbelievable.
Then Bill Vinovich did last year. I don't know.
Vinovich did 2 years ago.
Oh, 2 years.
Torbert did
Okay,
last year, yeah.
other way around.
Anyway,
Yeah, I would have
Bad boy Bill Vinovich.
I would have Vinovich very low because I feel like he's been the official in a lot of Vikings playoff losses. Not that he's been bad, but it just feels like a bad sign. Like, oh, here comes Bill
bad
Vinovich again.
vibes if he shows up.
His-
Bad
It's like when
vibes,
Evan
Bill.
Burrows
He was
shows
out
up
there-
to a
I'm
Creighton
pretty
game.
sure he was the Seahawks Vikings 2015. And then I think he was even Vikings Eagles in 2017 as well. So
A comment from the YouTube page from Alex. I'm just getting in this morning. Has anyone made a drop of Kent Pavelka's fullback audio yet? Yep.
That's like a fullback running through the A-hole or the B-hole.
It's just like that.
the Seahole.
Gap. It's Gap. It's Gap.
I think it's called Gap.
I enjoyed the weekend of college basketball, though. There were some good things going on. There was a controversial court storming on Tobacco Road. It was great. I was watching just, so pleasantly on Friday watching St. John's and UConn. What an enjoyable atmosphere situation that was. I don't know whether I was happy to see either of those fan bases be happy, but I enjoyed the spectacle of it all. Madison Square Garden Friday night. Gus Johnson kept saying "Zooby Dooby Doo." What? That is so bad. I mean, luckily he doesn't ruin it for me because after a while I just sort of tune him out and I don't think about him anymore. So he can't ruin it for me. But really, he's getting very close.
He's right up on the
He's
line.
getting very, very
He's
close.
on the line.
Stop yelling "Zooby Dooby Doo" when Zuby Ejiofor does anything for St. John's. But it was
in general, just don't yell it.
Don't make up stuff, make up nicknames. And we had some great other games this weekend.
It was a tremendous day of college basketball. I mean, if you just threw games on to start at 11 a.m. and just watched all the way until BYU and Houston were bringing it down at like midnight. I mean, you had tremendous games throughout. Some teams survived close scares. Some teams got knocked off on last-second shots. Some teams saved maybe the stench of their season in Creighton. Other teams, workman-like business win on the road in Nebraska.
I think the Creighton stench is already
well,
probably overwhelmingly
there's a worse
stinky.
stench when you've lost 5 straight.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been absolutely horrible, and I'm glad we had a moment of reprieve from the stinkiness. But
it's like someone just sprayed a little bit of a spritz of an air freshener.
I said to John before the game, when we had heard that Swartz wasn't going to play, and I was like, all right, I've made a decision. It's time to put all of the bad things inside this season.
No, I think space it out
and let them just sort of be in here. And that way, the second this season ends on Thursday in Madison Square Garden, then or the Crown or wherever it is, then it's just over and there's no more bad things. All the bad things stay here.
I don't think so.
In 2025-6.
I think spread it out over a 20-year period, and then you'll really appreciate basketball again after 20 years of just bad things happening. That seems like the thing to
I
do.
already appreciate it enough. I
think you'll appreciate it even more.
I think so too, as you could attest.
You really do.
Yes.
All you do is like, all right, that game's done. When's the next one? Tuesday. I gotta wait till Tuesday. What the heck? So yeah, it was an awesome day of college basketball. I mean, I don't know. You weren't able to watch much of it.
I was watching college basketball.
Speeding along on I-80, trying not to get pulled over.
Only for 48 minutes.
Weaving in and out of traffic like a jerk, I guess.
Reckless Happer.
Yeah, very reckless. But the Michigan State-Illinois game, inexplicably, Michigan State was able to win this. We had more Jeremy Fears Jr.
That's the only thing I saw. He's just tripping people now.
We had
this guy must be stopped.
Keaton Wagler finally had a night where he couldn't get to the free throw line, and he did, but he didn't get there enough to make up for the fact he couldn't make shots. Illinois had a chance to tie. They stole an inbounds pass that was just a absolutely haphazard. Tom Izzo wanted to probably, kick something as Michigan State just throws this ball away in the corner. Illinois flips it around. It gets from, I think, Wagler to then Davis, and you'd want either of those two guys shooting, and then it ends up in the hands of the guy wearing the face mask, who's one of the two brothers whose name Ivasic, and he just heaves it off
of all over the floor.
Heaves it off of the backboard, never even close to having a chance. As the finish of that game, Illinois wasn't able to close out in regulation, allowed Michigan State to come back there. You go from that game, you're into Tennessee and Kentucky, which comes down to the wire, and Kentucky's able to pull that off.
At what point of the day are we talking about now?
So the Michigan State was at 7,
okay.
And so then
I didn't watch it. I had to watch Ty Davis throw a full court left-handed pass, which was one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Why did he do that?
It was just a nuts day of and in there, Oregon nearly knocks off Purdue. Iowa State survives against Baylor. Kansas has its hands full with a horrible Utah team. North Carolina Duke play in the most overrated rivalry in sports. Wow! It was a great game.
Wow! There's a lot of North Carolina and Duke fans around here.
Yeah, I know. That's why I wanted to say it. The rest of us don't really care when you get together. It's Red Sox Yankees level of we don't need to hear about this all the time.
There was a time,
but at least they played an amazing game. Yeah, there was a time.
There was a time. That time is now gone.
Yeah, it's not there anymore.
No.
I saw this after it happened. And it's like, it's the best rivalry in sports. No, it's like, it's cool for over there. Fine. I don't care.
Shout out to the state of North Carolina.
When they play great games, I'm interested.
Shout out to the triangle.
When it's not entertaining, then I'm not. I can easily leave it at that.
Yeah,
So
that's pretty much what I do too.
But and then it finished with I'm there. It's like 11:30 at night, and I'm watching BYU and Houston.
I'm so proud of you.
After just rolling through all the rest of these,
This is great. You have really just
wanted
sunk
to
your
watch
teeth
Michigan
into
State,
it.
Illinois, because I didn't know what I wanted to have happen. I still don't know if I wanted the result that happened. I don't even understand how Michigan State won because they didn't look good at any point in that game, and they just sort of did.
Tonight, by the way, in college basketball, we have one big one. Are you ready for Arizona and Kansas tonight?
Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
that's a big one.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why Kansas played with its food against Utah for most of that game.
8
Paying
o'clock,
attention.
Arizona and Kansas. We are noticing. Also in the Ken Pom Thrill Score, number 4 tonight. Shout out to the Missouri Valley, Northern Iowa, and Murray State. The old the Baby Jays and the old Creighton rival, and Belmont and Bradley, 2 Missouri Valley games right there in the 3 and 4 spots. The other one is NC State and Louisville. All right, let's take a break. We'll be back with Michael Bruns coming up next on 1620 The Zone.
Broncos country, let's ride.
The Bronx is back in town. The Bronx is back in town. I said the Bronx is back in town. The Bronx is back in town. The Bronx is back in town. Bronx is back in town. The Bronx is back in town. Bronx is back in town.
Michael Brooks, Husker 24/7 on Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone.
All right, so the problem is he may not have heard that because he's on hold, right? Bruns, could you hear that open that we just played?
Yeah, if the boys are going to fight, you better let them.
We got some good intel that you were a particular enjoyer of the boys are back in town. And so Joey used that information to his advantage.
Yeah, that was well done. They got a giggle out of me. I can't imagine where you got the intel that I do occasionally enjoy a little bit of Thin Lizzy every now and again.
No idea who had that information.
I wonder what that person is.
Also, I think it's a rule that we have to use Broncos country let's ride on all of them too now. So sorry.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Well, it's the farther it gets away from it, I can still appreciate it. So, but yeah, no, that was well done. I like that.
Did you get the news?
Who was singing that? I couldn't
That is
tell.
me.
That's Joey.
That is me.
Yeah, and Joey's band of Joeys.
That's why I said be prepared.
Wow, I like it.
He went solo.
I didn't know your voice went that high.
Yeah, that was
apparently
when it initially hits. You're unprepared for the level of which that can get.
And
it's a hidden talent of mine.
He played it for us. We were like, perfect. The worse it is, the better. No offense, Joey.
I like it.
All right, Brunts, did you see the news that Nebraska baseball is moving their practice today to the famously non-turfed Haymarket Park?
I was actually just reading the email right before the open hit there. So yeah, it's gonna be like 71 today.
Yeah,
it's perfect baseball weather.
It is baseball season, and you're not trying to drain off 1,000 feet of snow from the last 2 months. So they're going to practice outside, and they play a game on Friday. It's baseball time.
You know what that means, though? Like, I think they host their out of conference weekend series is against the Maine Black Bears. So it's going to be 71 today.
Yep.
And I would say that when Maine comes to town, it's probably going to be about a real feel of like 38.
So the problem, the problem, Brett, with we'll say it every year without fail. Like one of the first 3 weekends where they're in warmer climates, it'll be like, they should have just played it here. It's 50 degrees there. It's 86 here for some reason.
Yeah.
And then when they actually come back, it'll be real feel 28 and they'll be just grinding through the first month of the season weather-wise. So that's the way college baseball goes here.
Guys eating soup in the dugout to stay warm, that kind of thing.
Giant jackets and mittens and things of that nature. Yeah.
They really need to do like a gloves giveaway or something like that for these fans that go there, as like just big mittens,
baseball mittens.
That should be a thing that they do as a giveaway. I guess we'll start with baseball here. We've talked to you about the pitching. We got Jet Buck. Is that the name?
Jet Buck.
You gave him as one of your surprise guys. What I guess, looking at this team, like, how do you expect? Is this kind of a vintage Will Bolt team? Is that how you sort of expect them to play, or do you see a different style emanating out of this group with what they have?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I don't even know what a vintage Will Bolt team means anymore.
Yeah, I was thinking about it as I said it, and I wasn't entirely sure either. Just full of red-ass baseball boys playing as hard as possible and not making errors in the field.
Yeah, you'll get that. You'll get a team that defends relatively well. You'll get some red assness. That's always kind of baked in. I feel like any roster that has a lot of JUCO guys, like, you just kind of naturally have that. But no, I mean, I think this is probably one of the more balanced teams they've had. I think when you kind of look at the pitching side of things, there's like a group of about 6 guys that they're looking at as potential, weekend type starters. That helps you with the midweek stuff, hopefully, as well. You're going to have some newcomers and bullpen guys figure out roles in the first couple weekends. Veteran closer, Kevin Minnell, who was at Mississippi State, he's going to be their closer to start the year. And I think, what we'll see, the last couple of years they've had, top 100 pitching staffs. And last year they really struggled to, at least for the first third to 40% of the season, really struggled to kind of pair the offense with it. And, basically if you split their season whenever they were on that 2-week bender in California, they kind of found some stuff offensively. I mean, they're really old in the lineup when you just kind of go down the list. I think they'll be better 1 through 9. Last year it felt like there were always a spot or two where teams could kind of take a little bit of a break, with who they were having to face at the plate. But I mean, I think this team was put together with the idea that they'd be able to have more extra base hits. They'd hit a few more home runs, and we'll see if they can do that. But I mean, I think that's at least on paper as things get going here. What it's going to look like is a team that should be better at the plate with a little bit more power, and hopefully pair it with a pitching staff that's been kind of consistently good over the last couple of years.
They're on MLB Network on Friday too.
Yeah, this is the tournament with that MLB runs. So
yeah,
I think all 4 on MLB Network, and then
the MLB Network on Friday, and then the other 3 are on
MLB.com.
MLB.com. Yeah.
Yes. But at least that's a win. Like if you can see it and it's not being filmed on an iPhone from behind home plate, you're doing okay for college baseball.
Yeah, no guarantees on next weekend. Although, I mean, nothing against Flow Sports, but it's at least it's at a nice park or whatever.
Yeah, the BTN Plus. Once you get into some of the conference road games, you're kind of rolling the dice on what you're going to get.
Right.
I want to ask you about Devin Nunez. What do you think a follow-up for him looks like as a sophomore? He had a really nice freshman year.
He did. Well, he's going to be in the outfield full time now. I mean, he's probably their guy in center field. And, I think what you saw last year was, you could see kind of the power developing. He had a pretty mature approach to the plate, I think. I think if you see the power numbers tick up a little bit, I think that'll be helpful for him. I'll be curious to see where they bat him in the lineup, because I think he was, I might be way off base here, but it felt like he was more towards the top of the lineup. I think with the power, he should be more, middle of the lineup type guy. So we'll see if that holds. But I mean, I think he was a guy last year, for as much as they kind of scuffled offensively, he was the one guy that you felt pretty good about when he was going to go up there. Didn't really, didn't hit like a freshman, which is always a good sign for guys. So I think, a good step for him is probably just, a little bit more power, a little bit more, doubles and triples rather than just the home run numbers. And, it's going to be interesting with him in center, though. I mean, he's been primarily an infielder. He had some shoulder issues in the fall where they were really limiting how much he could throw during scrimmages in the red-white series. So, but he's another piece of that lineup that they need to kind of take a step forward. So I think he was, pretty promising last year with what he showed. And I think, I'm trying to remember, I think he had some injury issues as well that he was kind of dealing with at times. So, keeping him healthy and then also just kind of getting him regular bats would be pretty big.
Brett's football wise, what do you read into, if anything, the new safeties coach, Tyler Yelk, over from the Eagles to replace Miles Taylor, who we barely knew?
Yeah, well, yeah, he was here less time than Rashawn Burno, which pretty impressive.
Less than a Burno. You don't see it very often.
Like a quarter Burno. No, I mean, I think when you look at just kind of look at the resume, which, I mean, that's really what you go off of on these hires, right? Because I can't imagine there were a lot of people that 2 weeks ago were aware of Tyler Yelk.
No.
But I do think, it's another guy that's familiar with Rob Orich. He has the NFL experience. He's kind of bounced around to a number of places in college football as well. So, I think that helps. you kind of dig in a little bit more to what he's done at some of those college stops. He also has a little bit of special teams experience, which is, probably beneficial given Nebraska's setup right now. So, I think it made sense. I think Rob Orich has been able to go out and bring in his guys, who are familiar with him and his style of defense. And, Yelk played with Orich and coached a little bit when they were together at Minnesota Duluth. So, I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, Miles Taylor was the same way. He coached with Orich at South Dakota. So, we'll see. I mean, they needed to make a hire relatively quickly, and they were able to pivot pretty fast. So that was good with spring ball, less than 2 weeks away.
So with Yelk coaching safeties, we know Dwayne McDougal is going to be a big part of this as he came over from the San Diego State team, where playing under Rob Orich. What do you think that picture looks like beyond McDougal? Because you saw a lot of Rex Guthrie last year, and it wasn't always good. We saw Caleb Benning more in the bowl game, and that was kind of up and down. Marquise Buford really felt like he regressed in the season last year. I mean, what do you think that picture looks like at a safety spot where they've got to find a little bit more consistency and a lot more playmaking than what they got out of opposite of Deshaun Singleton a year ago?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, you kind of look at the transfer portal additions. I mean, I'm sure McDougal probably didn't rise to the top of a lot of people's lists as they were adding guys, but they needed to add somebody that was familiar with that.
He's huge. It's a big addition.
Yeah. I think you could make an argument. I think there's one to be made that him and Chambliss are probably towards the top of the list with Calandria for guys that they needed to add. But no, I mean, I think a guy that was familiar with that defense, he was also with Orich at Idaho. And, just a guy that's been through it. He showed it at San Diego State. He had a pretty good nose for the ball. And you're right. I mean, I think he just needed a little bit more aggressiveness, a little bit more playmaking. It felt like, at times the secondary was playing on his heels a little bit. I mean, they were very good up until November against the pass, but there's kind of a lot of, I think it's fair to say, question marks about what's kind of coming back. I mean, I think the staff feels very good about Guthrie. I mean, they've talked about how they kind of see his trajectory and his career going. He's still pretty young. I mean, I think that was the thing that you kind of took away from last year was that there were mistakes that were made that were kind of, you could tell his age and experience level. So you kind of have to, I think it was important to bring in somebody with a lot of experience at that spot because it also kind of buys some time for some of those younger guys to kind of come up and, have somebody kind of set the tone a little bit in that room. So that was a big one. And, definitely, I think as you're kind of undergoing a big defensive change to a different style of defense, having those two guys that have kind of been through it at really key spots, I think there's a lot of value in that as you kind of get to the work of teaching that defense and finding out who can help you next fall.
All right, Bruns, we'll let you go. Always appreciate it, and have a good rest of your week.
Yep, take care, guys. We'll see you later.
Michael Bruns from Husker 24/7. Today, you will start to see many of the spring previews begin. I mean, frankly, little peek behind the curtains for everybody here. Why do these things happen? Because there's nothing else to talk about. And so you count down to a thing that you actually don't care about, which that's what we spend the majority of the offseason doing, which is a lot of fun.
I don't know. There's some people, like, I would probably be classified as someone who doesn't really care that much about spring football, but there are some people, and certainly those in the media.
Do you get excited when spring football?
Some really like it. I don't.
Who are these people?
I don't want to, well, I mean, a lot of them, it's part of the job. Like, they're just.
What about like fans? Like, what reason would you have just to get news and content every day?
I mean,
that part of it is definitely great. Like, it's much better than the alternative if you want to have content.
Because you don't spend as much time on a message board. You don't realize there's people that just genuinely really want Nebraska football to be a 365-day operation with things to discuss and news and conversation.
Yeah.
To the point where, like, there's a literal dissection of the
videos
of the workout
Yes,
videos and
yes.
like which guys look bigger, who looks like they're gonna do this, who looks like that. And none of it really ever has any basis in reality, but there's certainly people like that.
You're
That's the
right.
whole reason we have jobs. Is to, like the football carries all the rest of it.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that's what's going to start happening for the next 2 weeks.
Right.
I'm not complaining that it is happening because I'm going to take part in it as well.
And I'm not saying that you are. I'm
Yeah.
just saying like there's people that are always excited in the off season.
They are.
And I don't identify with them, but I certainly am aware.
There is less and less of them though.
Well, this is a rougher off season for enthusiasm, certainly. So
it is.
It's one where you have to bring your own optimism.
Oh, like a bring your own juice game.
BYOO.
BYOO off season.
Bring your own optimism.
BYOO.
Or maybe it's a BYOH. Bring your own hype.
Bring your own hype. Well, if anybody can find me a reason that we should be hype, maybe you'll find out in a couple weeks when they start spring ball. All right.
You could start a countdown for bringing your own hype. What are the things that you can get hyped about for Nebraska football?
That is a great question. I've been trying to figure that out. Why would I get excited at the moment?
Well, it is nice to have Nebraska basketball paper over that.
If they could somehow convince me that that Tony and the offense is going to be like this smooth marriage somehow, I don't know how they'd convince me of that, but if they could do it, then that might lead to some hype. Potential hype incoming.
If you could convince me that Rob Orich will have a similar start that Tony White did, I would be excited to see what Nebraska could do in terms of holding teams down points-wise if they're able to figure out enough offensively.
Yeah.
But those are some pretty large ifs.
Big ifs. All right. We'll take a break. We'll round things out next on 1620 The Zone. Great comment from Theo on YouTube. Get Bruncey's take on Bunny versus Kid Rock. We should have asked. That should be the new question that we just started asking people. Hey, which halftime show did you watch on Sunday? And then just see
neither.
And then they just say, yeah, there's halftime shows. I watched them and they're both bad or good or whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
Read the Mixed Up Chameleon to my now 2-year-old son.
There was a lot of different stuff going on in the Bad Bunny thing that I didn't obviously like, including the words that I didn't understand, but the references.
Yeah, how many years of Spanish did you take?
It took me 2, I think.
I took like 4 years.
That's pretty good. So, did you pick up anything?
Not really.
Okay,
this was a long time ago.
So I didn't even know that it was Lady Gaga until like I looked at it really hard. I actually said it out loud. I go, who is that? And then they were like, that's Lady Gaga.
I spotted her right away. That was easy to spot.
I don't know. She looks different. I don't know what's going on but so she was in there.
Okay.
Because Schaefer didn't know anything about this halftime
show. Did you enjoy Gasolina?
I love Gasolina.
It seems like that would have been something you would have liked.
That is still a very popular
Daddy Yankee. Is that the
DY baby?
Yeah.
There's still a very popular closer song, like closer walkout song. Yeah. Gasolina. That was good. He crowd surfed, basically stage dive. He was there. The plants were people.
I saw that.
There was plants.
Yeah.
What else happened? Who else was there? Oh, Ricky Martin was there.
Yeah.
When's the last time we saw Ricky Martin?
Saw Ricky Martin? It's been a while.
Heard
Ricky Martin. I feel like I hear Viva La Vida Locas or whatever.
Living the Vida Loca?
Yeah, whatever that. I feel like I hear that somewhat recently. Or
that's a decent stadium song.
It's popped up. Like you'll catch it. It'll be on playlists or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. He did not do that song.
Okay.
He did a different song. And I think I only knew one of the Bad Bunny songs. Like I'd only heard one of the Bad Bunny songs. But it was very enjoyable. He is a hell of a performer. You could tell he was doing like the winks and the quick, change camera. Like he was really good at all that stuff. He was definitely
really good, just breaking through the ceiling on that little structure he was on.
Oh yeah,
I love that. That was a fun transition.
He's divorced from the people that already decided whether they were going to like it or hate it before it happened thing. When it seemed like someone earnestly wanted to comment on it, they just talked about that it was fun. It was
correct.
And an enjoyable.
Yeah, I have no takes other than
without knowing what was going on. It was enjoyable to just watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the more earnest of them.
Yes,
not the.
But I did.
This halftime show is going to save the world, or it's the worst thing that ever happened.
Correct. I wondered. I was waiting for some update on the alternative halftime show that was created. I never heard anything. I don't know. I saw nothing about how that went.
I saw some stuff.
I told you. From the sound of things, Kid Rock hadn't even started by the time the game was about to resume.
Unbelievable. Like, how did they let that happen?
Yeah. And then I didn't know that Brantley Gilbert was involved, but at the watch party I was at, they were informing me that he released a statement as to not be divisive for why he was playing in this. And so that he could tell his children that he played in a halftime show during the Super Bowl.
What?
Yeah.
He said that?
Yeah, there's like a statement.
I got to see this. Well, I think he should know probably by participating in it. It is a bit divisive considering it is not the Super Bowl halftime show. It is the alternative Super Bowl halftime show. Brantley Gilbert. I didn't even know who that is. I've heard the name. I'll have to go take a look at that. But we don't have to go too far down that territory. A tweet from Andrew. At Happer and Schaefer, watch both halftime shows.
Want the quote?
Bad Bunny live, and then the Kid Rock one because it was trending because he forgot how to lip sync. Yikes! Yeah,
Yikes.
Just give me just very, very short. Give me the quote.
I respect that some people may see this differently, but I'm not playing the show to be divisive. I was offered this opportunity, and imagine my kids watching Daddy perform at halftime during the biggest game in American football. Everything I do for them.
Oh, so he just got paid a bunch.
Probably.
Yeah. That's cool. You could just say that.
Yeah, I mean there was no need for anything that happened involving the halftime show. There was no need for any of this.
That is correct. That much is definitely true. All right, before we get out of here, I wanted to check in with the local businesses. Did you hear that Jericho's is closing? I looked at our friends from Grow Omaha, and I was like, oh no, what happened? Jericho's is closing, which means the Westwood 1 Post-College World Series prime rib dinner is canceled forever. It's ending this week.
We should talk to the good people at Grow Omaha and just have like a Grow Omaha segment.
We should have
during this.
Okay, that's actually a great idea.
Show
we should get one of the reporters on. They do great,
and I learn more about what's happening in this community that I now reside in through them than anywhere else.
I saw this. I was like, I cannot believe it. It's been open for 50 years.
Well, and it's just like there's constant news. Like there's just something all the time. And what you're about to talk about at 180th and Maple.
So this for those of you who are unaware. 180th and Maple is now the new epicenter of America. All right.
It's amazing.
180th and Maple, largest growing chain hub that we have in the United States. I'm almost sure of it.
Which is important for you and I because we were both very close
to 180th and Maple. So there is going to be a hibachi restaurant called the Habana open. This is according to our friends from Grow Omaha. Up in that little strip mall where there's the Smoothie King that is just about to open, if not isn't
got
open
its signage
already.
And everything out.
And then there will be like a cross-strain brewery right in there very soon, maybe within a few months here. And there's already a Costco, the newly opened 7 Brew, the weird energy drink place that people stand an hour in line for. And it's all happening at 180th and Maple. There's a Walmart just down the street. There's a Target just down the street. There's Culver's. There's Qdoba further. There's a Starbucks. There's a Chipotle. There's 100 things. 180th and Maple, folks.
I need to drive to Elkhorn because I've not been.
There needs to be a billboard at 72nd and Dodge that says, come to 180th and Maple.
Drive another 10 miles.
Do you want to see the future?
So it's just changed.
We're extending to the Platte River.
This would be a great place.
True manifest destiny for the city of Omaha.
This would be a great place for you to exercise your legs again on the old podcast, The Chain Gang.
Yeah. I mean, there's certainly going to be opportunity out there. There's no question about it.
Interesting. All right, that will do it for us today. If you missed anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. Appreciate you joining us. The crossover is coming up next.